Peace to y'all. Peace to y'all. Welcome in. Welcome in. Sent you an invite, Lord Sirloin. What's going on?
Hello?
Peace to you.
Yeah. One second. Damn, Hunter. I'm coughing. So I do have a question. What do you mean the teachers of the Bibles hide from Christ? What is that supposed to mean?
Well, you know how in the book, Ezra, right?
Uh,
Ezra had to take the book because his brothers was lying on the book.
right. So you believe that majority of the Christians today are lying about who Jesus is?
Yeah. So he'll be speaking for himself is really what it means.
Oh yeah, I got that part. But it's more of a why do you believe when it comes to certain denominations or certain preachers anyway, they teach the way they do? Let's go.
Because it's just the culture. Like we've been taught all these lies, and the mind is a very powerful thing. You know, you believe something and that's how you're going to behave, even if it's a lie. So, you know, we've been taught lies so people believe in them, so they go on and teach things that they've never seen and they've never heard.
Well, that's what I try to explain to all religions. If you're told a lie enough times, eventually you will fall to believe it, or fail, or you know, begin to believe it. I should say. And the irony, and when you say something like that, they go, "Oh no, my book is correct. My book is correct." How do you know? I don't need you squealing. Oh, let me pause this up.
Yeah, what we really bringing out everybody is that no, like it says to wait on the Lord. It says to wait on the Lord, but nobody was actually waiting. They want to go out and oh shit, they want to go out and go ahead and teach about somebody who, when he shows up, he speaks for himself. He don't, he's gonna have witnesses telling you that he's here, but he's not gonna agree with what the pastors have been saying at all.
No, I would agree with that. A lot of the things that are taught now within the church aren't even Jesus' teachings. They're more or less Paul's. So, Paul and Jesus contradict each other a lot. So,
What makes you say that?
well, who did Jesus come to save? Did he come to save the Gentile or the Samaritan? Or did he come after the children of Israel?
Well, he has to gather the children of Israel because he needs the children of Israel to help him save the whole world.
So Jesus needs man to do his work.
Yeah, of course. It's like, because it says that the house of David will be like God. It says that the meek will inherit the earth. it says that Noah's whole family got on the ark. It wasn't just Noah; it was his whole family that got on the ark. So this is it's all just parables about how this Christ, everyone, most people is gonna be hiding from him, but he does gather chosen ones who get everybody else um, back to God.
Right. But, you know, I've been talking to multiple Christians, and I get kind of the same scenario. But let me ask you this question. Does God have the ability to make you an unbeliever?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, God makes everybody different for different reasons.
So if he makes you an unbeliever, how are you going to do his work if he's forcing you not to believe?
You're not gonna do the work.
Recite. Well, that's. I'm glad you said that. So what is the point of the ones that are being forced to unbelieve if he up there?
You started breaking up, but I can hear you said, "What's the point of the non-believers?" Because
Like, what is the point of the non?
this chosen one, he's a mighty man of war, and so are the people who will be with him. So it has to show the strength of God. Like the non-believers right now, the non-believers, like those pastors, the teachers of the Bible, they don't believe in Christ. Christ starts talking to them in the form of a man. He shows up just like it's written he was going to show up, but y'all rejecting the brother because he's saying he's Christ. So they're non-believers. So they got all the glory, they got all the popularity, but it's finna show God's gonna take away all that from you, and then people's gonna realize, damn, God is very powerful.
Now, when you say the pastors that teach this type of stuff, are you talking like the ones that are teaching false doctrines such as faith healing and prosperity gospel and all that stuff? Or are you talking like even the little small town probably only has like 10 people in the church pastor?
Nah, every single teacher of the Bible is lying
About what?
about whatever they're talking about, because it says that they're out of order is what it is. You were supposed to wait on this Messiah. He will have the crucifixion against him, so you'll recognize who he is if you're supposed to.
All right.
So they were supposed to listen to him. Oh, okay, Christ, you saying this is what it means when it says this? Yeah, that's what that means. Like, you were supposed to let him break it down to you or unseal the book. If you try to unseal it yourself, that's why people drown. That's why it's floods.
Well, the reasoning for calamity, or some translations, is to evil, is because that is within God's nature. For he is both, right? So if he is both, the calamity that is given across the world, such as floods or damages, is God's messages onto the world. But why, if we get some scripture that tells you to go out and to go preach to the world of Jesus, how do you wait for something that you're already told to go do?
You wasn't told though, because like one thing, it says all throughout this book. It says, "Son of man, go do this. Son of man, go do that. Son of man, this is gonna happen to you. Son of man, you're gonna prevail anyway. Son of man, son of man." This is a letter written to the one who's being risen up in our generation. This is a letter specifically written to this brother. So what what the deceiver has done, they gave you a book that you wasn't worthy to read. It says you're not worthy to read it. It says you can't unseal it. It says it's gonna kill you actually. And
Alive, but yeah.
yeah, and the spirit is gonna put in someone who will renew your strength, who will give you life, who will show you what's actually going on. He has to show it to you. If you don't wait, that's how people get wise in their own wisdom.
Well, I can agree with that. The arrogance of man is what is its ultimate downfall. Pride cometh before the fall. But if you talk to a majority of Christians, they'll read the back end of all four of the Gospels. And it tells you to go out well, he's actually talking to the disciples, to go out and go gain your own apostles and teach unto the world and give them the message of the Lord. So if Jesus did say, I'm saying did in quotations, if he actually did say this, how are they not doing what they're told if the apostles or all the other followers are doing exactly what it's telling them to do?
Well, it's simply, have you seen Christ? When did he tell you anything?
Well, I mean, many people have their claims of an encounterment of a God, but to say that this Jesus would be a stretch. But I mean, look at these modern day Christians where they believe that their self-proclaimed prophecies can become true, yet don't understand that if they proclaim something in the name of the Lord, that what their punishment is. A lot of them believe, it's just don't listen to them. That's not true. The biggest thing that's running through America right now is for a made-up Christian sect is Mormonism, or the LDS, however you want to say it. We know that everything that they teach is a counterclaim to Jesus, yet they claim to be followers of Jesus. So, is it not the job of the true believer to show the truth and tell them that they are being deceived? Or is it just for us to watch?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, how can you be someone with the faith if you're waiting on him to show up? Like, he's supposed to come down from the sky, or he's supposed to come from, chosen from among the tribes. Wherever you think he's going to be, he's going to actually be manifested.
Right.
Well, so you can't show me, okay, he was manifested. Everybody come look, he's here now for everybody to see. Because he is going to be crucified. He's telling the truth. He's going to be crucified. So everyone can see it. Some people will accept it and some people will not. So if you're just talking about, this is how I feel like he talks, or this is how I had a dream about him, I had a vision. No, you gotta wait for the manifestation, and that's when you go out and speak on his behalf, because he really will be manifested in the flesh.
Right. But if we turn to Scripture, when did Jesus say that he would return?
It said he will come from the same place that you saw him leave.
Right. But it's not where. I asked when. What? Because Jesus proclaimed when he's supposed to come back.
Nah, I mean, it don't really give you a date. If that, like, what do you mean?
So if I was to tell you that surely some of this generation shall not even taste death before I return, what am I saying to you?
You're saying that that these things are going to happen in one generation.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Because if Jesus is saying that this generation, because he's talking to his time frame. If I say to you that I will surely return before you before you pass, or before everyone that is within this generation, because I'm assuming that me and you are close to age, are or will ever taste death. Basically, he's saying before everyone that's alive today, before they taste death, I will be back. And he failed to do so. So then we have to turn back to Deuteronomy. It's Deuteronomy, not Deuteronomy, Deuteronomy? Leviticus. One
Well,
of the,
that's only if you believe he came in the history story.
well, do you believe that the Messiah has not showed?
Now I'm a witness that he didn't come back then. He's here now.
He's here now.
Hmm.
How would he be here now?
Because that this is as dark as the world has ever been. So this is the time when the light comes, and so the Spirit descended on him as a dove. It found him worthy, and it manifested him into the Lord.
When you say this is the darkest it's ever been, what do you mean? Because there's always been wars, there's always been calamity, there's always been destruction and evil of all sorts. What makes today different than yesterday?
Well, we're just very advanced with our evil ways. It's very we just have very advanced evil, and we have very sticky deception. It's like people, it's just never, like, a lot of the evil that's been going on recently didn't even exist ever before.
So, is it because we just don't know what happened yesterday that we believe that what we do today and what may come tomorrow is going to be way worse because we simply just don't understand?
um I'm sorry, I don't understand your question.
So, like, we know that wars have always existed. We know that, you know, heinous crimes against humanity has always existed from the beginning of man. Um, we know that basically no matter what man tries to do to make things better, they turn it and make it into something worse, right? Like, I want to use a modern weaponry. Um, well, not really modern, but let's look back at the 19th century when the Gatling gun or the Gatling, well, I'm sure you know what that is, was actually invented. It was invented to deter the acts of people marching forward onto the enemy, right? Because I mean, you're rapidly firing something, but because man is man and arrogant in, you know, its own ways, they did it anyway, and more carnage and bloodshed happened because of this specific weapon during on the battlefield, even though there was very few of them. That when we start getting into the 20th century, we're talking about World War I, World War II, we are so advanced with the ways of unaliving men that after World War I, we have to make rules and regulations that you can't throw cans of food over, gain people's trust, and then start lumping grenades into their trenches to trick them, right? Or or you can't jump into enemy trenches with a sawed-off shotgun and just start plowing people, right? Or you can't use gases and send them across the battlefield because you don't know if they're going to go to the enemy, if they're going to go back to you, if they're going to go hit the civilian village that has nothing to do with anything over there. So we had to make rules and regulations. But because we already had the carnage of what these things have done, we, as modern, I say modern humans, modern day people have realized that it's wrong, right? I hope that you would agree that even war is wrong, but to do unheinous things to someone, even in an act of war to them, like this, like if you see somebody just laying there after they've been eliminated, and you keep on shooting, you just keep on going at the body, even though they're no longer there. So the ultimate point of what I'm trying to get to is man is as evil today as it was yesterday and will be tomorrow. For we fall because we are taunted by our own flesh. We are just animals, and to think otherwise is vanity.
Well, do you believe in scripture?
To an extent,
To understand. But you do believe in God though.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean God definitely has the ability to make righteous men. That's how like when that's how the good always wins. It always conquers, but um like it's written in the prophecy that like you know how you can't the darkness always comes to light. You can't lie forever. You can't keep something hidden forever. So the things that they've hidden from the people to keep us down is coming to light. You can't trick the kids forever. So we're that's what the prophecy is about, is us figuring out the things that they did to us so that righteous people can replace the wicked leadership, righteous leadership. That's what's going on
So
right now.
does
And
power corrupt people?
I'm sorry.
Doesn't power corrupt?
Nah, not if it'll it kind of just shows you who you are. Like if you have power for the wrong reasons, you're gonna use it in a bad way. If you have power for good reasons, you're gonna use it in a good way. It's like money. It's like what power is. Um, but yeah, that's what the prophecy is about. It says all time and again that we're gonna gather this government of God. And that's what's going on right now. That's why, this is a nation building panel. We're gathering leaders so that we can judge the world just like it's written.
Well, man is not ultimately the judge.
Yeah,
We
this is God given. That's why we're talking. That's why we're telling you Christ is on earth. This is something that God is doing.
right. Well, let me ask this: when did he return?
The Spirit descended on him as a dove about 2014 ish.
Hmm. Did he come back with vengeance?
Yeah, it's the sword of truth against all the people lying on God.
All right.
Hmm.
When so, let me ask you this: when the Messiah is supposed to return, there are a few things that he's supposed to do. Right? According to what I consider gospel written by man, is he's supposed to come and rule the earth for at least 1,000 years before he destroys it, right? If he is here for the past 11 years, why has peace not come across the world if peace is supposed to be a part of that 1,000 year reign?
Because the peace for the whole world comes when he gathers the leaders. Like we have to, like right now, it's like if you telling the truth and you walk into a room of liars, if you're Christ and you walk into a room of religions that don't know nothing but you're Christ, like, you know, they don't know that they're your footstool when they're coming against you, but they're your footstool. You know, like, because you're the one with that's telling the truth. They're lying. So, that's why he's reigning. And people who can see and those who can hear, like, we join unto Christ, the children of Israel, and gather this government. And, when the government is established, when the house is built, that's when everything will be handed over to this house because this is God's house and all the nations are going to recognize it. So it's a war with our brothers. It's like, why are y'all fighting the truth? Like, y'all waited on this. So
Right.
we gather the right ones, and then everyone, that's that second resurrection. At the end of this, when the chosen ones are through, everyone's going to recognize he's always been Christ, and the world is going to know that peace.
Yeah, because it's difficult to explain because not everyone takes. Well, I don't recognize Revelations as a true gospel, um, but it's not really a gospel; it's a vision. But if you look at what Jesus himself said, he doesn't even know the day that he's going to return, for only the Father knows all things. Right? But Jesus does know that he will be coming back with a sword. He will be coming back with an army, and not a physical army like you would see like with Britain or America or China or any other country. This is supposed to be when the heavens split open and Jesus returns that way. He's supposed to come straight down from the heavens, causing mayhem and destruction of all kinds, coming down to prove a point.
Yeah, but like, you think heaven is inside?
No,
Okay,
heaven.
so yeah, where's
My
heaven?
my perspective of heaven is it's a different realm all the way around. For what we are contained in is a realm basically separate from God, yet He still touches us. Not that, how can I say, that's where you can tell when you read the, well, especially the Abrahamic religions, the Torah, the Tanakh, or Pentateuch, whichever one you want to call it, the Gospels, and some people even lump in the Quran. They all know who this deity is and what he's about. Yet you have man that comes in and corrupts it and puts man's ideals and man's logic on something that is not man. For that's where we start getting the excuses of mass eliminations, right? Because if God
Wait, you're
truly
saying
cared,
who already knows?
right?
No, you're saying who already knows.
Who are you, like, in general? Oh, no one knows. But when we sit here,
Okay.
when we look at the books is just a man's interpretation of what this deity is trying to. Well, I wouldn't even say try to show himself, but is showing himself in, and because man is failing to understand what they're being told, they warp it to where it's simplistic. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. So, sorry, my daughters are fighting amongst one another.
You good.
Joys of children. But let me ask you this, and this is just a personal question to you. If Jesus was to come and knock on your door right now, would you recognize who he is?
No, I already know who he is. He's walking the earth, just like you and me are walking the earth. He's already been chosen.
No, what I'm saying is, if he was to come and knock on your door, would you recognize him?
I was just on the phone with him, is what I'm saying. So I already know who he is. Like, we already met.
All right. Who is he? Like
This is his
who is
website.
it?
This is his website right here. Yajujuda.com.
Yeah, Judah. Let me write that down because I will. I'll be honest with you. I will forget all about that if I don't. Uh,
Put it in the comments too, because I know it's small. But yeah, he's already here.
she is lying. Lying about what? We're just talking personal. Well, not really personal ideas. We're just talking to amongst one another.
Yeah, they call him a false prophet. A lot of people are listening, but they're not really listening. So they don't know that God chose him.
All right. Let me ask you this: who proclaimed him to be a prophet? Was it a self-recognition, or was it someone else that did it?
Yeah, he remembered for himself who he is.
So it's self-recognizing
Mm.
himself as a prophet. Have you put him to the test of Deuteronomy?
Um, what do you mean?
So there's certain rules and regulations that a prophet is supposed to abide by. All right. So if a prophet proclaims something in the name of the Lord and it does not come to pass, what do you do?
Then there was lying or a false prophet.
All right. But what are you supposed to do?
You don't listen to them.
All right. What else are you supposed to do? What is the ultimate punishment for lying in the name of the Lord?
Um, I don't know what you're talking about.
So a lot of people, I'm not trying to be offensive to you, a lot of people don't want to read the very front part of that. So the true punishment is not only to not listen to them, but is unaliving, is death. That is the true punishment. If they lie and say something comes from the Lord, fear them not and eliminate them. So the reason why I ask that, because if he is a true prophet, is like, I'm not saying have him do something for you, but if he proclaims something, meaning that he has to give an end to it, not just it can't be a blanket. Hang on, I'm writing down this website too. .com. All right. Um, but if he makes a claim in the name of the Lord, let's say he proclaims something to happen in 10, 20 years from now, right? We get to that point 10, 20 years down the road and nothing changes and nothing happens. Would you continue believing that he is the Messiah?
Well, that'd be impossible. You know, you're kind of asking me to do something like imagine something impossible. Um, when you're telling
How
the
is it
truth, the
impossible?
only thing because he's telling the truth, like these are things that people don't really consider how the religions are lying. Like these people are going to church and eating crackers and juice on first Sunday. Like that's a lie. Eating crackers and juice on first Sunday does nothing about the flesh and blood of the Son of Man. These people are lying. So as long as we keep telling the truth, that don't make no sense.
What
The
is the
liars are gonna
symbolism?
stop talking and the children of God are gonna keep being gathered. So, there's no stopping this ball because we're telling the truth.
Right. What is the importance of the communion or sacrament or whatever you may call it? What is the purpose of the true meaning of the bread and wine?
Um it's about remembrance, you know. And that can only be done through order, you know,
Hmm.
because Moses had to give the bread and wine. Christ had to give the bread and wine. Like that, that's something that the chosen one has to give, you know,
Well,
because,
Moses gave his up for a different reason than why Jesus did.
well, I mean, the point though is that he's the one. You know, that's why numbers don't lie. You can't say that, oh, I'm able to give the bread, but I didn't get it from him. You making yourself him if you're trying to give the bread. So that's very important because everyone and their mama is trying to give the bread right now. Everybody wants to give the talk about God, but you're not gathering with Christ. Christ is the one who tells you the truth about God. You know, like when I talk about God, I'm only telling you what Yaju said.
Hmm.
This Yaju Judah, you know, who we
Hmm.
asked you to check out. I'm
Yeah.
literally only telling you what he said about God. So now this is how everyone is going to be on one accord about God.
Well, that's what I'm saying because you are warned that people will come in my name. Well, not my name. I'm quoting for Jesus here. Many will come in my name, proclaiming to speak for the Lord, and even ones that commit works in the name of the Lord, saying, "Lord, Lord, look at what all I've done in your name." And surely he will turn his back to them and say, "I know you not."
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's what we telling you is going on. Because, like, he don't know you because you were supposed to wait on me in flesh and blood. Like, Christ comes right now out of this secret place everyone's talking about, right? Which pastor is he going to follow and be like, you were saying everything the truth about me. You never slipped up once. Like, which pastor is he going to say that to? Nobody. He's not saying that to nobody. He's the one with the whole truth. He's the firstborn of it. He has to do the healing. If anybody else was telling the whole truth before he got here, they would have been Christ.
Mm. Would you say that the prophets of old were lying?
Um, nah, because they're the reason that we have the prophecy.
Right. So, but we wouldn't consider them to be Christ by no shape or way or form, right?
Mm,
Like you wouldn't say Elijah, even though he committed some of the same deeds of Jesus, like resurrecting the dead, or blessing people, healing the sick, doing stuff like that. You wouldn't call Elijah Christ, would you?
nah, you got to be careful with that because a lot of these people in the Bible, like Noah's Christ. Moses is Christ. It's just Christ is just the anointed one. You know, he's the King of Kings, King David, Christ. So
Well,
so
Christ is a specific title. It's not just
yeah,
given out willy nilly. It's for a specific person or a specific thing.
yeah. I'm just saying that it don't just belong to Jesus neither. You have many high priests through the generations.
Okay. Where do you get this from?
Well, I met the one high priest, like I've been telling you, and we have many more witnesses. He's here already, so this Bible really makes sense to me now.
Right.
Like Moses, he got the people out of Egypt. Jonah, um, same thing, or Joshua, so you have an anointed one who the people had to listen to, who God touched down on him specifically, and the people had to listen to him. That's all throughout the book for a very good reason.
Right. I would agree with that. But even if we look at the prophets of old comparative to Jesus or the modern day quote unquote prophet, does aren't you warned that many will come in my name? And if that is true, and ultimately it is, because we know that there are people that has passed out false doctrine and has dragged people further away from the true salvation of God, why not be hesitant when you hear someone say something else?
What makes you think I wasn't hesitant? Like when Yaju said he was Christ, I wasn't immediately like, oh my God, Christ is here because he said so. Hell no. I fought with it a long time, but one thing I
Well, that's
didn't
why I asked.
one thing I didn't do though, I didn't say he could never be Christ. I didn't say that. I said, okay, if he's Christ, well, or if he's saying he's Christ, I want to see why he's saying that. Because he believed he was Christ. I could see it in his eye, I could hear it in his voice, but I want to know, why would you believe that wholeheartedly and do what you're doing? Like,
Because that brings
how
us
did
back
God
to
convince you?
that brings us all the way back to the beginning of our conversation. If you were told a lie enough times, eventually you will believe it, right? So, and what a lot of people have this misunderstanding of what the enemy can and cannot do, right? Especially if you're talking Hasatan or the devil or Satan, however you want to look at him. He knows the scripture better than you or I ever could, right? Another thing is he's just because he's able to deceive doesn't necessarily mean that he will lie, right? Even though deceit and lying does go hand in hand with one another, but I can deceive you in a way that I'm telling you the truth, but I'm not telling you all of it. And then I'll change, over time I could start adding in things and eventually you'll forget the main premise of what my conversation was. So there's a reason why I asked if you actually did the Deuteronomy laws or the Deuteronomy rules when it comes to a prophet. Because if he is a prophet, if he is speaking for God, he should be able to proclaim something and it will come to pass. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to come to pass immediately. That's not how prophecies work. But, when it comes to even the prophets of old, they were very, very careful with the things they said, right? Now, just because you are a prophet and you speak for God does not mean that you are not corrupted by flesh and you cannot lie. That's another thing that you have to watch out for, too. For the enemy will disguise himself and look beautiful and meek, or beautiful and pleasant, but in reality, they will drag you further and further down and away from God to the point that you wouldn't even recognize who you're looking at when they knock on your door.
Yeah, but like that's why it's the right hand of God and the left hand of God. That's why it's, when you get caught up in the rapture and when you're still on the earth as a mere man, when you're not flying yet, like, because when you said something, you said the devil knows the Bible better than any of us. But like it's true, but also, because the reason, like, one thing about the devil can't be real. The devil can't be 100% authentic. The devil has to hide its hands at least a little bit. The devil has to sprinkle in at least a little bit of a lie. The devil can't be 100% itself, or else it wouldn't be the devil. So the
What do you
devil
mean
is
by
going
that?
to seem, the devil is going to use his Bible and make it seem like, oh yeah, I 100% know what I'm talking about, but you don't know what you're talking about. Like, the devil,
Right, right, right.
they don't understand the Bible better than Christ. That's that other side of things, because the Messiah comes and he has full understanding of the Bible, and you can't
Well,
take his full understanding away from him, even if you've been lying this whole time. You can't change the fact that he's the one who is worthy to unseal this book, no matter how tricky you are. He's the one who gets it. You're the one who's lying about it.
Right. And, well, to an extent, um, there are certain beliefs within the religion that believe that Satan or Lucifer, or whatever you want to call him, some sects believe that he's not able to lie, but he does not have to tell you the whole truth, right? Which will fall into the lines of deceit, because I can be telling the truth to you, but not tell you the whole story behind that truth, right? So when you go and you listen to people, no matter where you are in aspect of life, use caution, because you don't know. Like with this guy, I don't know who he is, so I'm not going to try to throw shade. But we don't know if he is speaking truth or he's just reading the gospel or reading a book and interpreting it to where you can understand, but he's also deceiving you because you don't understand.
Nah, you don't know. You don't know what's going on because you haven't considered what he's saying.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't know this man. I can't give it either way.
I'm just saying. I just want to, let it be understood. Like we know what it is, so you can't. I just didn't like the word "we" because we know he's Christ. It's just until the rest of the world catches on.
What has he done that is Christ-like?
He has the sharpest sword known to man. So just kind of like if you imagine when Christ puts all religions in one room
Mm-hmm.
and he shows them like no, like that ain't all the way right. Like think of it this way, like because when someone's telling the truth, what they say really speaks for itself. Like you can go out and find these things for your own self. You could figure it out before he did. He was just the one that God chose to tell you. These things you can go see, touch, and feel for yourself.
Right. Do you not?
So
Do you think the enemy can't do the same thing?
hell no, the enemy can't do the same thing. Because if you're telling a lie, no matter how far I search on earth, I'll never be able to find no lie because it doesn't exist. Like an example, the scripture that says, "Eat my flesh, drink my blood." I am good drink. I am good food. Eat me.
Mm-hmm.
That scripture was not talking about crackers and juice.
No, it was being literal, but it was using a symbolism. Is what it was using.
Yeah, it's talking about if you don't actually listen to a person, don't go in your own imaginations. Listen to the person. Talk about I'm Christ, the person who's actually Christ. If you're
Yeah, but
if you're blessed to see God in him, you go through him. You don't go through your own imaginations. So like that
right,
is it. Crackers and juice is a lie. You're never gonna eat crackers and juice and then you get eternal life. You're never gonna eat crackers and juice and you get truth like that. That's not real. You can't find that light nowhere in the world. It's not real. Now, if you go through the flesh and blood of the Son of Man, you actually hear the brother out. You actually step in his shoes.
right,
You can get life from that, and everyone who does the same thing will also receive the same life.
right. So, by that nature, would you consider him to be the Messiah?
Yeah, most definitely.
What is the Messiah supposed to do?
He saves the people out of the system.
No. There's a very specific thing that the Messiah is supposed to do according to Jeremiah. What is he supposed to do?
Hey, I already told you what it's supposed to do. Now you have an imagination of how it's supposed to look, but you know,
No, it's
it's
not
bring people to the
imagination.
promised land.
So, is the Messiah supposed to rebuild the temple and sit on David's throne?
Correct.
All right. Is he supposed to wipe out the enemies of Israel, kick them all out while bringing in 12 tribes back?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Is he supposed to come with total vengeance, not just against the ones that go against Israel, but the ones that go against himself?
Yeah, these are all things he's doing. I'm telling you that he's doing it. It's just not how people imagine it.
What do you mean?
Because like when he comes with war, when he comes with vengeance, That's the truth versus a lie. It's not a gun versus a sword. It's simply the truth versus a lie. You know, a lot of these things are metaphors. The temple, it's not a brick house. It's
Well, technically
people.
it is. The
No, it's
temple is a
technically
is an
not.
actual
You
building.
imagine those things. You never seen it.
Well, would you consider the throne of David to be a real thing, or is that a metaphor?
It's like a seat of authority. Because when he's crowned King David, no matter where he goes, that's on a David. You know.
All right. But do you believe that David had an actual throne, like a real physical, what we would consider a chair
In Ethiopia.
in Ethiopia?
Yeah.
Possibly. Um,
No, no.
do
You have people who was called King David and the King of Kings and the Queen of Kings who sat on this throne in Ethiopia going back years, many, many years. You have 150 grave sites of King David all in Ethiopia. That's where the Bible comes from. That's where it
so there was
literally all goes back
150
to
King
Ethiopia.
Davids.
I'm sorry.
There was 150 different King Davids.
150 grave sites of King David's going back.
How can you have 150 grave sites with only a single body?
No, you have 150 bodies buried in Ethiopia, and they were all called King David.
So yeah, that's what I asked at first. 150 different individuals.
Yeah.
So if there's 150 individuals of King David, um, which I'm sure that you're more than likely using it as symbolism, not as literal, the same guy over and over and over and over again. Um, why is it that we don't get the same thing when it comes to the other ones that believe?
What you mean?
Like, there's wild claims that the Bible makes claims all the time that are not necessarily what we would consider true. What do we do?
Well, the Bible doesn't make no claims. You have to put your opinion on the Bible and you make a claim.
Self-interpretation is extremely dangerous and brings you down the pathway to hell.
And that's the only option that you have until Christ shows up and speaks for himself. That's the only option you have. Your interpretation.
Right. What do you do when you run into someone that believes that they've talked to Jesus or believes that they have had these encounters with Jesus, yet they truly have not?
Well, the mind is so powerful, and this is people's Lord and Savior, who is really just their own idea of a man. They're not serving no Lord, they're serving their own idea of the Lord. So I know that they're
Mm-hmm.
dedicated, so I try to open their minds, shed a little light. It really depends on the person. Um,
Right.
yeah, it really depends on the person, but the truth is always going to conquer. So just tell them the truth.
So when we say that he is speaking truth, how do we know he is speaking truth? I mean, you could proclaim things all day. I mean, like I said, I don't know this man from Adam's house cat, so I can't give a yes or no from my point of view. But again, the things that you do in the name of the Lord, if you're not careful, is going to get yourself hurt. Not just you, but the ones that also follow you. Because, like wolves in sheep clothing, they're not here to help you or guide you down into the field to be with the other ones. They're guiding you into the woods so they can rip you to shreds. I mean, look at one of the, I won't say biggest Christian denominations, but one of the youngest ones in the world, again, back with Mormonism, we know that Mormons are lies. Everything that they teach is not anything scripture. Yet they use their holy text and quote the prophets of old to try to make themselves look like they are. So the ones that went and followed Joseph Smith and realized that there were people that were smart enough to realize that he was lying, and then read the Bible, and the Bible said if they lie, do not listen to them no more. And ultimately, because of his deceit and because of his lies, he was ultimately unalive due to it. Right? That's why they say that he was martyred. But he was really unalive for several different reasons. But that's why I caution people when they say, "Oh well, I sat here and I talked to the new Jesus," or "I've sat here and I know Jesus is back." How do you know? We don't. We don't know.
Well, hold up. You don't have to know that he's Christ for him to be Christ. But regardless, we should at least be able to put ourselves in a state of mind. And this is why I say the world has never been so dark. Because who cares about your idea of Jesus? He ain't even here talking. So who cares about ain't nobody gonna be following Jesus until he even shows up for himself. So the only thing that you got is the people saying that they Christ with their whole chest out.
Right?
Those are the only Christ that you got. And all of them is gonna be fake except for the one. Everybody else talking about I had a dream about Jesus. Who cares about your dream about it? Who cares about your vision? Because he's gonna show up and do what he wants to do anyway.
Well, to be fair, couldn't we say the same thing about the man that you proclaim?
Yeah, you don't gotta know that he's Christ, but he's still gonna be Christ, and the people who hear him out, they're gonna hear the truth, and they're gonna respect the truth.
Well, all right. I will do this. I'll be fair. I will look up who this man is. I won't give you a follow. We'll go and do that. So we can have a discussion off of live if, we have something and I have questions because I'm sure that you are wise enough to, hold a slight skepticism against someone that proclaims to be something and not truly know. Um, well, not in your case. You wholeheartedly believe that he is who he says he is.
Yeah, I
But
definitely had to. I definitely had to um survey the facts, though. Because
right,
I didn't understand everywhere he was coming from, so I really had to follow him for a while to understand exactly what he was saying.
right. So, and I want you to do something within fairness as well. Go look at what the Father said to do when it comes to people that proclaim things in his name or proclaims to be him. So you could go into the New or the Old Testament and figure that out.
I mean, you said it's to kill people, but that's something that you do with your tongue.
No, 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 no. Not what we are supposed to do. I'm saying what God said. So Jesus made a claim that people will come and say that they are him, and they're truly not. Then you have the Father saying that people that come in their name, come in his name, and they're truly not. What all to do? So it's not just with prophets. There's other things that go into little guidelines. But if he is being a self-proclaimed, I'm saying self-proclaimed in quotations, Messiah, then he must be able to hold scrutiny against the Gospels. And if he fails at one, then you strike him and say no.
Yeah, but brother, that's where you're going wrong. Because if he's not the Messiah, he's going to be proven false for not being the Messiah. But you thinking that you have the right to make that judgment. You know, it's either you know that he's Christ, or you know,
Well, it's not what I say.
yes, it's
Let me
not
ask
what
you
you
a
say
favor.
is what I'm is what I'm trying to say is definitely not what you say. So you don't have that ability to, you don't have the gospel. You don't have the gospel. You're not Christ. Christ is gonna come with the gospel. That's why every man is a liar. You have to let yourself be a liar. If you're waiting on Christ, he could tell me something that I've been lying about.
Right. Use those words that you just said to me and go and read what the Bible says. You'll find out what I'm telling you isn't to go either way for our own decisions either way. But the Spirit of the Lord is very, very clear on certain things. And it's not metaphorical. It's not hyperbole. It's not a, what is it that people say, Jesus parable. It's none of that. It's a straightforward, direct, to your face, how to test these people. Because again, the devil could disguise himself in any way, shape, or form to keep you from understanding the truth. Now,
That's
this
what I'm
man that
saying
I
though.
don't know,
That's what
he
I'm
may
saying.
actually be speaking something.
You can't um like you can't fake a fact. A fact speaks for itself. A fact, it's all about for you knowing what facts are and knowing what an opinion is. Knowing what just a, if it's materialized, if it's right in your face, 100% clear, that's a fact. Like you don't need, you didn't even need nobody to tell you about the fact. Right there, it's a fact. It's speaking for itself. He was just the one who seen it first, so he told you it was right there. Like,
Right. But let
so
me ask you this: what has he
that
told you that
so
showed
some
you that he's
people,
true?
I'm just saying, some people know the difference between a fact and an opinion. Everybody has an opinion about Jesus Christ. Nobody has facts
Oh,
about
most
Jesus
definitely.
Christ at all. They have opinions about Jesus Christ and they standing on it. So
Right.
the people who are not going to get tricked, the people who are going to recognize Christ and recognize who's not Christ when he actually shows up, these are people who know the difference between a fact and an opinion.
Right. Well, yeah, I can see that. But let me ask you this: what are some of the things that he said to you or said to the masses that made you say, "Yeah, that's right, that's him"?
Um, it wasn't like all at once like that. But I can give you an example. Um,
No, I understand it doesn't all happen at once. What I'm asking is, if he said something to you to make you ultimately believe, because you did tell me that it took you time to ultimately believe in this man. What did he say that convinced you?
I'm saying it wasn't all at once. I was convinced. Everything. He's really Christ. So he's really Christ 360 degrees. He's really Christ in every single way, all day, every day. He's Christ. So it was just until I wanted to accept that he was Christ. Now he does do miracles. He does show you things that will make you excited and laugh, like, oh my God, like the power of God. Like,
Right.
and that I an example of that would be the water parable. It says that these waters where the prostitute sits, the prostitute, the whore of Babylon,
Hmm.
it says in Revelation that these waters that you saw where the prostitute sits are people, multitudes, nations, and tongues. It says that the water where the prostitute is at are people, nation, multitude, and tongue. But everybody thinks it's literal Jordan River. Everyone thinks it's the literal Red Sea. So he's divided the common things from the holy things, the dirty water from the clean water. He's divided the sea so that you can walk on that solid, narrow path, so that you escape the floods. He's building the ark. He's Noah. He's above the watered down information. Watered down information is a lie. So he's above it. He's walking on water. You got to hold his hand or you're going to drown. If you can't divide the water, you drown in it. So like that's like natural magic, turning these fairy tales into real life that actually makes sense.
Hmm. So when you say that he commits miracles or he does all these things, what are the miracles that he may be committing?
It's bringing us back to our remembrance of who we are and who God is.
Well, that wouldn't necessarily be a miracle. It would just be a great understanding and make him a teacher. If he is committing miracles, that means he is doing other things. I'm not talking like walking on water and all that fun jazz. That'd be like I would have to see that to believe that type of stuff. But to commit a miracle such as touching the sick and bringing them back to health, or you know, going and doing what Jesus did to Lazarus, right? Bringing him back not from the sickness of a bed, but from the coldness of the ground, but from the tomb. What has he done that made you say, okay, that's a miracle, instead of trying to say it's a metaphor?
Well, you're the one who's saying that us coming back to God isn't a miracle. You know, like
Well, no,
we don't you I mean, you said that we're destined to, what did you say? You said that we're destined to be wicked. You said that we're destined to always. That's not true though. You know, we're gonna be an upright nation of people, of God's people. You know how the birds and the bees, you don't gotta tell them how to be birds and bees, they just do it and they do it well. Like humans are finna be the same way because of these miracles that Yaju is doing and the people coming to him that he's teaching us how to do. Like it literally says that the whole world is gonna know peace. Like world peace is literally around the corner. Like y'all don't even know.
world peace is right around the corner. What gives you that idea as we have literal continents ripping itself to shreds over ideas, not because of, you know, simplistic things? Man's always going to be at war with itself, regardless of what happens. The spirit and the flesh do not agree, nor do they go hand in hand with one another. So that's what I'm
Because
asking.
we're the government that he's gathering. That's us. We're building it. Like if I tell you I'm a carpenter
Hmm.
and I have a whole blueprint and God gave me the blueprint, ain't just anybody give me the Lord himself literally gave me the blueprint and we're all carpenters and we're building this house. I can tell you how the house is about to look. This is what the house is going to look like. This is the floor plan, and the whole thing is going to look just like I'm telling you because I'm building it. That's how I know.
Hmm. Yet, if you build it on shifting sand, what happens to the house?
I'm sorry, what?
When you build your house on shifting sand, what happens to the house?
I'm not a carpenter, but it don't sound steady.
Exactly. For it's surely going to fall, right? If your foundation is weak and unable to sustain the weight of the house will fall. That's why when you build houses, you try to go for nice, good bedrock, right? So that's what I'm asking, or what I'm saying to you is make sure that what you are building your house on isn't shifting sand and that you're being deceived, but that you are truly getting the proper nutrition and building your house on solid bedrock.
Well, let me ask you. So, because you're building up, you have a family, you have your own um, ideas about God.
Mhm.
So, if the Lord comes and he says, I got to tear down your house, bro, are you going to let him so you can, build up God's house?
Well, to be honest with you, if God said that He's going to come tear down my house, there's nothing I could say against Him. For His will, thou shall be done,
Thank
not
you. That was
mine.
my, yeah, that was my next question. It don't even matter if you want him to. He's going to tear it down regardless.
Right.
So, everybody's house is getting torn down. We're just the ones with that sturdy foundation because, again, we're the ones the Lord is actually in our midst. He
Okay.
actually lit our candlestick. He actually brought us to the right hand of the Father. So, this is what the world is waiting on. That a lot of people just won't accept that this is what they're waiting on.
Okay. If we are waiting on that, yet you proclaim that you have found it, why is no one going to it?
Because they think they already have it.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. I can agree with that.
You have to drop whatever you think you know because God doesn't have to God doesn't need permission to do what God does.
No, he doesn't have to explain himself either. He
Exactly.
just does.
Exactly. So who
But
are we to question when God is revealing to us who God chose? We're going to
well,
be
that
combative
would turn us
because
into
we hold information that we think and deem to be the truth. So that when the truth appears, we're not listening to the truth because we think we already know. But it was for us to wait on the Lord. Simple. It was not for us to take up any information from anybody else.
mm,
We were to wait. And we know now where the truth is.
okay. How do you know? Like when you sit here and people say, "Well, I know the truth," and someone asks, "Okay, well, show me." So, like for instance, with the
What's the,
Yah
what's
guy,
what's the first step to understanding though? What's the first step to understanding anything that's coming out of somebody's mouth?
I mean, you had to be willing to listen.
Exactly. So to say that we have discernment, but we didn't ask the necessary questions or discern the pastor, or let alone we picked up a letter written to Christ for Christ, thinking
Yeah,
that we know which way we're supposed to turn when we again was to wait on the Lord.
right.
In order
Well, no,
to
I would
know,
agree
you're
with
gonna
that.
have to listen.
But when man is able to corrupt and warp the things that it does, not just man, but even the enemy is able to do the same, how would someone with a feeble mind or someone young in the faith be able to discern deceit from honesty? Like, for instance, I'm sure you've heard my children running around the background playing and fighting amongst one another. If I go tell them something, because they are small children, they'll believe me, right? Like, let's say Santa Claus. Santa Claus is real. He's a real man. He does all these magical little things. They'll believe it. But when they actually realize who Saint Nicholas is, the Spaniard that walked around the city putting pieces of candy and throwing gold into windows, you get a different person. It's not this holly jolly guy that's going around the world with, you know, a sleigh and deers flying through the sky dropping off presents for kids. But you realize that he's a feeble man that lived at a certain time frame that took care of the poor and took care of the meek. for that's what the Bible told him to do.
Well, that's your personal understanding, but we know that that's a fable. That was turned into a story.
Right.
The kids don't see Saint Nick; they see you.
Exactly.
So it's like, what's the point in telling the kids the lies and
Because
expecting
aren't we
them?
supposed to be like children?
We're supposed to lie to our children?
No, we are supposed to be like children, to come unto the Lord as children. So if you are a child is someone that is willing to be, is obedient, willing to listen, and always wanting to learn, right?
And
But
a
the
child's
Bible,
going to tell you when they're uncomfortable. A child's going to let you know when they're that a child has discernment enough to know right from wrong.
certain ages, yeah, but like when it comes to things that comes from your parents, I'm sure that your parents told you some wild fables as you were a child, and as you got older, you learned it was just a
A
story,
lie.
right?
Yes, people are lying to their kids
Right,
every day. But in the midst of you lying to your kids, you're expecting them to know better later on down the line
right,
or to continue on having discernment down the line. But it starts at home. So if you're not taking accountability for the fact that you were lied to and you're not willing to empty your cup and accept the truth, then your kids will never have the truth to accept either because you didn't. Because it starts with you.
right. But why would I stick my clean cup inside of dirty water if I don't want to drink the dirty water?
I mean, you
Why
already
would why
have
would I
dirty water that needs to come out of it to
why would I
accept
stick
the clean water.
right? But also, how would I know it's clean? Just because it looks clean, it doesn't contain the dirt, does not contain things that we could visibly see. If I was to go take the creek water and scoop it up into my mouth and drink it, I have the huge potential of gaining some sort of disease from it. Correct?
I suppose so, depending on what creek you're drinking from.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So you can't just just because it looks clean, just because just like when you say nice things, just because you do things in the name of the Lord, doesn't mean that you come from the Lord. If that makes
Exactly.
sense.
Exactly.
So and that's where I'm coming up with this. I'm trying to not have biases, honestly, because I don't know this guy. I don't know any of these teachings, but I do know that
Your
throughout
opinion is your
time,
opinion, but the truth still prevails over all. So,
right? But I'm sure that y'all are well aware. Over the past 2,000 years, many of people have claimed to be the Messiah or Christ returning.
okay.
Yet every last one of them failed. Every last one of them were lying, or even though they're able to quote the scripture inside and out, they're able to use the words of the Lord. Doesn't again necessarily make you of the Lord,
I
because like I
mean,
was saying to her, um, the enemy has the capabilities to understand the Bible, if not the same, if not better than especially the average person. But even when it comes to people that study it on a daily basis, for he was there when it was written, right? So
no. That's the
the
thing. Y'all are saying that y'all witnessed and you know someone by reading. How? How can
oh,
you know the
I'm not
emotions?
claiming
How
that.
can you know how?
I'm
That's
not
what I'm trying
claiming
to
that it comes
understand.
from reading. What I'm saying is, if you go and you do something and you listen to someone and you go and you actually build a relationship with the deity, you can understand if one is just your imagination, their imagination, or all of it's made up. Because what I view as God, what you view as God, what the other ones on the panel view as God, are all different deities. We can all claim that it's the same deity. We can all bend the knee to the cross and say, "Oh, this is my Messiah. This is my Lord. This is my guy," and have no idea who he is. It makes it worse when he says, "I do not know you." To sit here with,
Exactly. Say that one more time. I do not know you. He will reveal himself to you. It's beyond a deity, an idol, something that don't move, that just stands still. Christ is here to fulfill, to
right,
do God's will. Something that you have to move and do.
right.
Not read and wait and pray and wait. There's
Well,
work that needs to be done. Christ is not here to show you how to fold blankets over again or to teach you how to wipe down a counter. Like,
but your
it's
but
beyond that.
your works are nothing but dirty, but filthy rags unto the Father, right? So even if you were to
But
do something,
that's not talking to everybody.
technically it is that we are
No,
all the
technically it's
same.
not. Because some people, like my sister said, aren't. Some people actually, the Lord does know who we are.
Are
Again, a
you
flesh
saying
and
their
blood
works save you?
person. The people who, the people who are speaking about him before he's actually showed up in the flesh to speak for himself.
Hmm.
That your prayers are in vain. If you don't know he's Christ, if you don't want to accept him, your prayers are in vain.
Right. But when you do works, right? Like let's say you go do something, go feed a homeless person or go take care of an orphan or something, right? Is that the equivalent of what Jesus is able to do? Or is it like how Jesus proclaimed that all the works that you commit are nothing but filthy rags, but only through I is what gains you access into the Father?
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. So how can you say that you know him if you have not seen him, heard him? My sheep hear my voice. I can do
mhm,
all things through Christ. How can
mhm.
you do it through him without him?
Well, you technically can't. But the
Exactly,
thing
because we were
is
to wait on the Lord. Simple.
to do what?
Give us direction. He's
Okay. And
coming with the Spirit.
if
We
he's
are.
already
It's a
came to
spoken
you,
word. The letter
if
is
he,
not for us to study and read. It's for Christ to fulfill.
okay, has he fulfilled what he was supposed to do before he comes again? Did he not teach? Does he not say for you to go out and teach the true word of who he is?
Did he tell you that specifically? Or did you get that from the book yourself?
Myself, I am not a teacher.
Exactly.
But, like we were saying earlier, with the way that we are able to use discernment, we can figure out if what that is teaching is telling the truth or not. And it's a very big claim when you have someone that proclaims to say that they are the Christ, yet when you ask someone that follows this guy, what has he done
Hold
that is
up, hold
Christ
up,
like?
hold up. But didn't the devil deceive the whole world?
Oh,
Didn't the devil deceive the whole
He
world?
has the ability to deceive the whole world.
Nah,
Yes,
no, no, no.
no,
It
no.
said he
and he
already wanted.
has.
He already deceived the whole
Said
world.
he
If
deceived the
we
whole world.
if we was able to just tell the truth versus the lie that easily, we wouldn't have been gotten tricked all this whole time. We wouldn't have. We would be Christ if we just knew the truth versus the lie, just like easy, like you're putting it.
Hmm.
Right.
You wouldn't have to continue to read over and over again to try to gain understanding.
Well, the book isn't what gives you understanding. The
What?
book is
How you
just what
get your
gives you
understanding
guidance.
then?
How do you get your understanding?
Yeah. Who do you get your
Not
understanding
through
from?
man. Not a
That's how.
single man is able to give you anything that God can give you.
The word was made flesh.
That's part of the word, is it not?
It's a spoken word, not a written one. So you wouldn't have to read to
How do you
find.
know?
He will reveal himself to you.
Because what you're doing to me is you're quoting John. You're quoting John 1. For
I
that is
mean,
written. And we must read that to believe that, right?
no, you didn't have to read. If we didn't have the book, we still would be waiting. We still would be waiting, but we would know once he revealed himself.
Waiting for what? We already know what Jesus came here to do.
No, you don't. You're
He
falsifying. You're
came here.
lying.
He came here to do the work of his Father. That's how we know what he did. Now, is all the stories within the Bible true? Maybe, maybe not. My opinion on it is no.
Lean not on your
But
own understanding.
right. But self-interpretation is also dangerous as well.
That's the same thing I
So,
just said.
right. So if we're leaning on our own interpretation, and then we sit here, we listen to someone else that are saying the same things that we think, is it because we agree with what they're saying, or is it the honest truth? Because truth will be able to give you evidence, will be able to give you clarity across the board. If we go look at a picture on the wall, and I say, this is a picture of a house, yet you look and you see a picture of a horse, and then the next one sees a picture of a flower, are we not all deceived?
I don't know where you're going with that.
What I'm saying to you is not all things or what, not everything you hear, or how should I say this? Don't believe everything you hear and only believe half the things you see.
We already know that. The whole world was deceived.
Right.
Okay, so how will we
If it's
differentiate the
deceived,
truth from the lie? How will we know the truth from the lie then?
are
I
you,
know how.
ICSN, we're talking to Sirloin. One moment.
Okay.
how will we be able to figure out what is true and what is a lie? Again,
How
that
would you
goes
be able to discern the truth from the lie?
because isn't the truth something, like I said earlier, able to show itself not just within words. You're going to be able to you'll be able to prove it, to show it, and not only that, you'll be able to explain it. So when it comes to truth, it's like when people talk about science, for instance. Not everything that people teach within science, everyone would consider to be true, even though there's evidence for not all of it, for most of the things that are taught within the grade school into high school, even into university education. But it's also not the same concept. You won't teach a fourth grader what you're going to teach a senior in university, would you?
Sir.
Sirloin, you're kind of the I guess the point that you're missing is just because we can explain it, like we've been explaining to you every question you ask, we had an answer for.
I know.
You know, we can explain it, but why did they crucify Christ? Because what they were saying went right over their head.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, he was just telling the truth. He wasn't here to be their idol. He came to get rid of their idols.
Right. And Jesus, what did he say about the Pharisees? He said they did what but live in what?
They was reading the book and talking about the book, but they wasn't actually standing on the principles of the book.
Exactly. So when you run into someone that proclaims that they are that they understand and they're able to quote the law and they're able to do all these things, but can't prove their fruit, would you stay within that tree? Would you go to that tree for something to eat?
The law comes from the high priest's lips. And like the will of God stated, we were to wait on the Lord. He would reveal himself. It's not that you had to go looking for the truth. It would reveal itself, especially in the midst of all these lies that's been going on. Any ounce of a lie that's mixed with the truth is a lie. But we have the 100% truth. And we know that's the difference. It's not the fact that we have to prove anything to y'all. The facts is there, but it's up to you to accept.
Right.
And we also don't need you to accept it either. Like, this is a gift. This is something that is a blessing, you know? So, like, the people who want to accept the gifts, like, this is really about gathering the government. This is about a responsibility that we have as a nation, as God's people, to take back our world. Again, it said world peace forever and ever and ever. It said no more confusion, no more religions, no more false prophets, forever and ever and ever. And then some, that's what it said in the prophecy. You can't, when Christ comes and he makes that sacrifice, when he's the light of the world, you can't shut him off. Like my brother Danny said, you cannot turn off the light of the world. You can't build a religion on top of him. He's the truth. That's the truth of God. You can't build a religion on top of that. Like, so I'm saying not to say like people think he came in a history story and then he went up in the sky and he's going to come back from the sky. No, he's born in our generation. He's telling the truth in our generation. He's shaming the devil in our generation. He's gathering the chosen ones in our generation. And then he's going to be crowned King David over there in Ethiopia in our generation. And everybody's going to be like, damn, if you never heard of him, now you know Christ is walking the earth. If you was fighting him, you one of them people, all eyes are going to see him, even they who pierced him. You going to know as well. All in one generation. That's why it's 2 resurrections.
So I asked a question, and I don't know if it was probably the wrong question because I know we talked about the water and the dirty water and the clean cup or whatever. But when it comes to bearing one's fruit, is all fruit good for you? Can some be poisonous? Can some be what we say is dangerous to consume?
Yeah, it's just people who are lying.
Right.
It's the lie versus the truth.
So, but if we know that there are situations where people will make these wild claims, and that it's not just to you. I mean, this goes for majority of Christendom. If they sit here and they bear poisonous fruit, would you continue to go to the tree to eat from it?
No, brother. No.
You
That's
wouldn't.
why we told you. It's for you, just like when you was looking into religions and you found a lie in every single religion. That's how you knew all of them was false.
Hmm.
Now it's up to you. God is testing you. You don't get to test God. God is testing you. And you find a lie in what Yaju is saying when you go and listen to what he's saying. Are you gonna find a lie? Because if he's really Christ, you're just gonna be the liar. Or you're not gonna find a lie. You're gonna accept that he's Christ and you're gonna pick up your cross. So
Right.
you have to go and look for a lie or look for
So
the truth.
let me ask you this question, and this is just a personal question for all three of you, honestly. If you were believing in this fellow, and it is proven that he does not know what he says or he lies about something, what would you do? Would you continue listening to him? But I know if you go looking for a lie, surely you will find it. And surely if you go looking for what you are wanting, you will find it as well.
Sirloin.
But if I go and I listen to what he says, and it contradicts all the understandings of who this guy is, would you listen?
Sirloin.
Yes.
Sir, you've already been doing that. That's why it's hard for you to even really hear what me or my sister has been saying.
Well, I listen to what you say, but what concerns me is people are people, right? Even when it comes to eyewitness testimony or
Mm.
anything like that, the human mind is able to change things to fit a narrative. Every time you remember something, you change that actual action that really happened. And your mind is also able to make up things that never happened.
Mm.
So how do we know? Because I asked, what, 10, 15 minutes ago, what are some of the miracles that he has committed to prove himself to be who he claims to be?
I think he got a phone call.
Sorry. Yeah, people are calling me. Anyway, so when it comes to this scenario, people, when it comes to eyewitness testimony and when it comes to the mind and when it comes to what people think, are subjective, right?
Very.
So if it is subjective, then it would be hard for him to prove that he is an objective thing. Now, if he's able to prove the miracles that you know, what has he done? Like, because it's not just going to be, oh, he told me some nice things and I enjoyed what he said. It's going to be something that we can be able to look at, to witness, to, not only to learn, but to be able to pass on. Yet, nope, this guy is proclaiming to be who he says he is, and we know that there are ways to test this man on the way that he is. Why not do so? The whole skepticism is not a bad thing,
Yeah, but like,
technically. You can question
no,
a lot of
you
things to find out what the truth
brother,
is.
brother. You're getting it twisted. You can't test God. You can't you
I
can't be
never said to
like
test
you
God.
can't be like, "Hey God, do you fit up to my standards of God? Let's see if you're really God." Because you
That's
don't get
not
to
what I
have a
said.
standard about God. God,
That's not what I said.
well, you said you have to do your test to see if he's Christ.
No. We know that there are tests to see if he is.
No, no,
Not
no.
my
That's why.
test.
No, no. Hold up. Because that's the difference between knowing and believing. You don't.
Okay.
You're talking about knowing, and we talk about facts. We talk about truth. We talk about I know, I know, I know. But we just
Right.
use that word so lightly. You cannot test God. God has to
It's not
do the
God that we're
choosing.
testing.
God will
It's
do
the
the
one that
choosing.
says that they speak for God is who we can test.
Brother, stop cutting me off. God will do the test. God will give you the eyes and ears. You don't get to give yourself the eyes and ears. You don't get to give yourself the measurement, the ruler stick. You don't
Hmm.
give these things to yourself. God has to give it to you. If you want to fight tooth and nail that Christ could actually be on earth in your generation, you're going to do that. God doesn't have to convince you to make him Christ or not. It
Right.
wouldn't be up to nobody's measurement. It would be up to these are the people that God chose to recognize that God is on earth in a new body. That's it. It wouldn't be up to nobody's idea of a measurement at all.
So let me ask you this one last question because I do have to go. who is the one that's going to be blessed more? The one that sat here and seen, or the one that sat here and did not but relied on faith? Who gets the better blessing?
Those things go hand in hand because faith comes by hearing. You know, somebody can tell you something, but if
The
you
story
don't,
of doubting Thomas will be able to answer that question.
I'm
So,
sorry.
the story of doubting Thomas, the one that had to stick his hands inside the holes of his hands and up into his chest cavity where the spear went
Okay,
through.
okay. So did Thomas see Christ in the flesh, or was Thomas
Yes.
imagining Christ?
No. He walked with Jesus. He was with Jesus.
Yeah. So he
Thomas was
was
a
literally
disciple.
walking flesh and blood, like me and you are walking flesh and
Right.
blood. And he had to do, okay, am I gonna have faith in this brother, or am I gonna have faith in my own ideas? That was Thomas's struggle.
But
So the
what it,
flesh and blood,
but
he's right there in front of you. Forget everyone's imaginary Christ. One day he's going to be right here in front of us. Are we going to have faith in that man or not?
right. But the words that I just said to you are the words that is believed to come from Jesus. For surely the ones that see me and believe will be blessed. But the ones that sit here and do not see, yet still believe, will be giving more treasures into heaven. So Jesus himself
It don't say
even said
more.
that
It
you
don't
don't
say more.
necessarily have to see him. It doesn't
I
say
mean, it
more.
don't say you're going to give more treasures if you don't see him. It doesn't say more.
Okay.
It's really talking about also.
Let's talk about faith. That's what it's talking about. It's talking about the ones that are like me and you that can't go back 2,000 years into old Judea and go find this man walking around the earth and to see if what he says is to be true. But because we listen and we believe what he's done, from the miracles to the crucifixion to the resurrection to, you know, all the other ins and outs of Jesus, that makes us different than Thomas. Because
No,
Thomas
no.
held doubt.
Thomas, you can't put yourself in the disciples' shoes. You never,
I'm not.
that's the deception. You have never been in Thomas's shoes, witnessing the majesty of the Son of God.
But
You've
even
never been,
Thomas himself says, I do
sirloin,
not believe until I
Lord
see him.
sirloin. You have never been in Thomas's shoes, witnessing the majesty, otherworldly majesty of the Son of God. You've never been in his shoes, so you can't talk
Mm-hmm.
about when he had to struggle with believing in the man talking to him. Cause right now somebody could be I'm like right now, you know, you're saying stuff to me, I'm saying stuff to you. It's up to me. Do I want to have faith in what you're saying? It's up to you. Do you want to
Mm-hmm.
have faith in what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like that that's some and you can be right in front of me telling the whole truth and nothing but the truth. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
have to have faith in what you're saying. I don't have to.
All right.
That's all. That's all it's talking about. And also you have people who have never met Yaju in person, but they hear him. You have people who I mean, none of us have seen him crown King David. None of us have seen him when he's in his full glory, when all nations recognize him, when all nations flow to his government and he establishes his world peace.
Mm-hmm.
We've never seen that, but we know it's going to happen. We got the faith. So
Did he give you
it's,
a time when
it's,
that
it's
may
really
happen?
talking about someone who, that's why it says faith comes by hearing. You have to hear somebody out to even start to have faith in what they're saying.
All right. Well, I will be fair. I will give him his opportunity to try to, I won't say explain, but to give understanding, right? So if I'm allowing someone to give their understanding of who they are to me, I have to humble myself for that. But I want to ask of you, if you've not held true discernment or true concern of what he says, how would you truly know if he is of God? But anyway, I do have to go because I have to get to my little kids before they start making the nosebleeds and start spitting out teeth. But because I don't understand 4 and 2 year olds, but I do wish you the best. I hope all of you stay safe and find not just your truth, but the truth.
We have it. Sirloin, you have a great day. Accept the truth for what it is and not what you think it is. Peace
So
be
that's
with
it. The guy, the brother speaks and he goes. That's it. You don't listen to us.
I mean, I've been talking to the host for what, about an hour now?
Yeah, I've been listening. Yeah, the whole time.
Okay.
Afro.
I mean, if you wish to
Yes,
ask me
dear.
something, you can.
I'm trying to figure out who you are.
I'm
Afro,
I'm the guy from Ethiopia.
One moment then, Afro.
All right.
yeah, we appreciate you coming up, Sirloin. Peace and blessings to you.
Likewise.
Yeah, you got the website, so
Yeah, I wrote
appreciate
it
the
down.
conversation.
I'll let you drop me down so the algorithm doesn't mess up on you.
Okay, okay.
I
I
see.
see SM was after Mr. Sirloin, so
Hey guys, thanks for having me up.
peace, peace.
Shalom, shalom. So first, want to say I was listening to the other guy, and I was trying to understand his questions.
You unmuted.
He must have got a call.
You know the cube man in the guest box. That's Goku. You know that brother. He be sounding. That's who that is, sis.
Okay.
So
All right. Thank you for telling me that.
yeah. We ain't letting you up, Goku. You be tripping on
Yeah,
us,
sorry about
man.
that. No, I was just saying I really didn't understand all his questions. I was listening to him, but you know, but just kind of reflecting on a lot of what was being said. I think it's just important for people to understand who they are. When they realize who they were created to be from the very beginning of the earth, from the foundation of the world, you know, many of us would be the sons of God, the children of God. And I think when we grasp that, nothing that no one else tells us will be able to change it. So it doesn't really matter how you come into the knowledge of truth. But once you grasp the knowledge of truth, no one can take that from you because it is a revealing of the deception. And
Well, what do you
so,
mean? What do you mean it doesn't matter how you come into the knowledge?
because the Holy Spirit reveals his word of truth through the word, and the word is spoken. The word is always spoken by someone who is created in the image of God. And that person who is in the image of God would, in fact, be the Son of God.
I see it saying it sound like you've been listening, but it sound like you also trying to steal garments.
No, the nothing can be stolen as it relates to the word of God, because
But
all of those who are his were spoken into existence from the foundation of the world.
so where did you get your information from?
The word of God.
The word was made flesh.
Right. But the flesh has revealed itself to various people through various dispensations of time. For we are the sons of God, and it does not yet appear what we shall be. For when he appears, we shall be like him, and we shall see him as he is. So this is a unique message to all of those who would be the sons of God.
God has
Genesis
chosen one.
Genesis chapter 6 says that the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were fair, and they took for them to be wives, and had with them kings or rulers, and they
No, no,
became mighty
I see.
men
Hold
of
up, hold up. I
renown.
see. You're not like when it comes to the sons of God, that's why it says you are to worship the God among the gods. It says this
But the
for a
God among the
reason
gods is the
because
creator.
hold up, because we know all about the sons of God. We know very well about the sons of God, but everybody and their mama think that they're the sons of God right now. So who's the real sons of God? The real sons of God is going to be able to tell you he's the leader of the sons of God. He's the reason we're all sons of God because he was the first son of God. You have to say, I'm number two son of God. I'm not number one son of God. We're not all the number one. You'd have to say, I'm number two. He's number one. If you cannot say that, you can't even get into, oh, the sons of God are supposed to do this and that. You're not the son of God yet.
Well, I understand what you're saying. I don't disagree with you at all. However, what I'm saying is not a sentence or a statement about hierarchy. I'm just talking about those who he predestined from the foundations of the earth.
So
And
you are
those,
disagreeing because we are
no, I'm
talking
not.
about a hierarchy.
Well, no, I'm not disagreeing, because the Son of God would be a glorified title given to the one who is set above the angels. So in no way am I comparing myself to the Son of God by title, but what I am stating is those who he predestined from the foundations of the earth would be the sons of God. And these sons of God today would, in fact, take for themselves wives who would be descendants of Adam. The
So is it
daughters of men
Yaju?
is who?
Is Yaju the chosen one?
Is he the chosen one for Yaju Judah?
Is he the leader of the sons of God?
He would be the leader of those who have assimilated as Yaju Judah, who would identify as Israel. He would be your leader. That would be correct.
He's the leader. So there's no other way to be a son of God unless you accept that he's the firstborn.
Right. He would be the firstborn amongst those who would come into the light under Yaju Judah, under Israel.
No, I'm talking about under God. God itself, not just Yaju, but God
Thank you for the
itself.
chance, sweetheart. Thank you.
Well,
Peace to
the
you, Afro.
the under God, um, God said before God created the sun, He said, "Let there be light." He said, "Let there be light," and there was light. This is before he created the stars and the moon and the sun. And so light already existed before he created the sun.
I'm just asking you simple questions because I never see you testifying, this is the doorway. This is the reason I call myself a son of God. He's the one who showed me the light. I never hear you saying that, so I want to see where you're at with it.
I will say this. Yaju is my brother.
Okay, so you straddling the fence. I just wanted to make that clear because, this isn't really a platform for people who aren't with us to teach. Like we have conversations and stuff, but you know what it is. Like we're nation building on a solid foundation. So if you're not with us, you are against us. You might not see it, but if you're not with
No,
us, you're gonna end up.
I'm not against
That's
you.
why it says that. Hold up. That's why it says that um that you the angels of heaven slept with the daughters of men. Your idea of God is your idea of God. Period. That's your idol. That's your wife. That's your husband. That's your everything is your idea of God. That don't gotta be the real God though. It wouldn't be the real God. That's why you're defiled. So this is why you have the firstborn to show you who that is. If you don't cast out your idol like a period pad, like a menstrual pad, if you don't cast it out, you are actually going to be fighting the real one. Now that he's here speaking for himself, if you're not 100% on his side, you're not on his side.
This is not my fight. This is not my battle because the battle belongs to God. The Bible says, avenge not yourself, for vengeance belongs to the Lord, to God. And so this isn't my fight, and he's not my enemy. The kingdom suffer violent, and the violent take it by force. The kingdom is not fighting. It is those who are not in the kingdom who are fighting.
You're not in the kingdom. That's why you won't say that he's Christ, because you're not in the kingdom. That's what I'm telling you.
I never stated that he wasn't Christ.
Yeah, but you say that everybody's Christ. So you're not saying, you're saying that he's your brother. He's not set apart from you. You're not with your whole chest out saying the same thing that we're saying.
Peace, family.
Christ
Peace to you, sir.
is anointed with a message for his people. And Christ has a sheep. I've never said he wasn't Christ.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
It's for Talia.
Okay.
Talia, do you love the Lord?
Yeah, with all my heart.
And you know that he's capable of anything?
Yeah, he's a person.
Okay. Just making sure.
Okay. Yeah, the God don't deal with straddlers because that makes it confusing for the people who's coming into this. You know, if you straddle in the fence, you yourself are confused. That's why you really got to be one way or the other, or else you're not even gonna be given the eyes that the real angels have. You're not gonna get our eyes if you don't pick a side. That's that's important.
Do you think God causes pain?
Yeah, God, chastises those that he loves.
Why do he do that?
So that you know which way to go and which way not to go. Same way that you get a whooping from your parents.
Do you know that verse in the Bible where it says, those who are, um, those who seek to become teachers shall be humble and obedient and willing to hear the people's voice. You know what verse I'm talking about? What
Yeah.
verse is that? Because my mind is somewhere else. I think it's in Timothy.
What's your point?
My point is everybody is not given the gift to teach, even though teach anybody can teach, but you have to be ordained to teach. Like it's for example, TikTok is a platform where anyone can get up here and teach, but that's not acceptable because if if this world really rely on the religion that's here, then they should understand that you have to be ordained to teach. If that make any sense.
So who do you know that's ordained?
Well, pastors, like pastors are ordained to teach.
Who ordained them though?
God,
God has order. So the pastors were to wait on the Lord too.
correct.
So that means you weren't supposed to listen to the pastors. You were to wait on the Lord yourself.
Who, me?
Yes, you, Diablo.
You said I'm to wait on the Lord. Do you mean
Yes.
who?
You are
Jesus?
to wait on the Lord.
Jesus?
Have you met the Lord? Do you know the Lord?
As far as I'm concerned, there is no Lord.
So you out of order.
Out of whose order?
God's order.
No,
You don't sound too sure.
I'm sure.
So who do you get your information from?
Why you want to know all that?
I mean, you here asking questions, so I'm doing the same.
I get my information from the energies that once dwelled upon this planet.
Okay, that says you don't get your information from the one God chose, so we shouldn't be listening to you either.
You don't have to listen to me because I'm not ordained.
So how are you to point us to anybody who is ordained?
Because what's the reason for us having pastors?
We were to wait on the Lord, not listen to them.
Are you speaking to the Lord?
I know him.
Okay.
So it seems like you came up here to try to tell us who we were supposed to listen to.
Not necessarily.
So what was your point in coming up here then?
Just to dwell in communion.
How is that anything fruitful though?
Because a good tree cannot bear bad fruit.
And once again, we shouldn't be listening to you either. But you came up here to try to point us to go and listen to who you listen to, which is the pastor.
Because I am the way, the truth, and the light.
So you Christ.
No,
So why are you speaking on things pertaining to God?
because he created me.
Yes, God uses his creation, but the chosen one is to send us out, not us pick to be sent out. That's the
Well,
difference.
what if how can I be chosen? What do I have to do to be chosen?
Well, the question is, why are you've already chosen yourself. So you need to empty your cup.
What cup?
The information that you carry.
The
Everybody
information.
want to be chosen, but don't nobody want to come in God's order. And you just said you're not in order.
Well, I think I'm in order.
It's not about thinking, it's about knowing. I just want to know your point in coming up here to spew rhetoric and babble. And then you say you're the light, the way. It sounds like you're proclaiming yourself to be chosen.
If I tell you earthly things, you won't believe me. But how
I
would you
don't believe
believe
you
me if I
anyway.
tell you heavenly things?
We were to make every man a liar.
That's impossible.
How? When it said we were to wait on the Lord. We weren't supposed to be listening to nobody but the Lord.
Okay, so what if I said I'm God?
I know you're lying.
Why? Because every man is a liar?
Make every man a liar and let God be true.
Why do men have to be liars? Why can't women be liars?
El Diablo, I see you running away.
Yeah, that's the devil in Spanish. So let me ask you, you don't believe in the Lord, but
Well,
you
hold
believe in
on.
the
The
devil?
devil not bad. The devil not bad though. The devil not bad.
How
Dang.
not? And he deceived the whole world.
Because he didn't deceive the whole world. That's what the white man put in there.
Oh, now it's the white man.
Yeah, because they put us in slavery.
Oh, then you gonna say slavery was racism too?
Um, no.
Okay. I don't understand what you come up here for.
I
Cause you
mean
just running around in circles.
I'm a king, so I can really do what I please.
Sir, you still haven't uncovered your head.
Mr. Diablo, if you're a real king, then you'll be able to recognize other kings. That's what our movement is about, is getting the kings together, getting the queens together so that we can fix the issues in the earth. You know, God can easily do that. So it's just we're calling on the people who's meant for it. If you go to the website, you can contact. We have meetings,
I'll be back up.
all these things. So please do reach out to us. We're calling all the leaders. Understand what everything is about. understand what it's all about.
So you saying that I will recognize other kings? I do recognize other kings, but you guys don't recognize your king.
We have our king. God chose him. Diablo, you trying to make yourself the chosen one and you can't.
But
There's
you
nothing
are,
to discuss.
but you know him.
Yeah, we know him. We hearken to him. We see him. We met him.
Okay,
We're
okay.
not bearing false witness.
Well, why does it always come to that?
Because if you haven't, you are bearing false witness and you're lying to yourself.
Because someone else, I don't know. It's humiliating.
What's humiliating?
The humiliation,
What are you speaking on? What humiliation are you speaking on?
the power invested into people that doesn't deserve it.
But at the end of the day, you're not one to even carry that measurement.
But I am.
So you're Christ. That's what you're saying.
Why do I have to be Christ?
You're putting it out there like you're the chosen one who's supposed to be leading people to the promise.
Am I not?
You're not. That's why you shouldn't speak on things pertaining to God. God has order.
Yeah, and bro, this humiliation you're talking about, you're gonna feel that humiliation because, you know, like I don't know where you live, but you go and you talk to these people in the hood that's dealing with, they don't know where their next meal is coming from. They don't know if they about to get kicked out of their house. And you're talking about, I'm the Lord, I'm the truth, the light, and the way. I'm the one that, you know, lead these people to the promised land. I'm the one who's gonna shut down all the churches. I'm the one. That's what the real one actually is doing right now.
No,
So
no.
that's why you're gonna have
Jesus said,
humiliation. That's why we're here warning you, humble down, bro. That's not your position. If you're a king, play your real position.
okay,
Because we're already telling you, and I know you've been around. Yaju is that chosen one with the works, with the actual movement, with the actual presence and sacrifice to bring about this world peace forever and ever and ever for all nations. That's what we're a part of. So, you know, that there's a reason you're talking about humiliation. You're feeling it. So, we hope you'll relax, bro, and really consider what we've been saying.
so do you hear the voice in the wilderness?
Yeah, that's Yaju.
Okay. I think at this point everybody heard Yaju.
Y'all hearing them, but y'all ain't hearing them. Y'all seeing them, but y'all ain't seeing them.
Okay.
Now,
So
once again,
Jacob,
Yahoo,
Jacob, you're gonna have
Come
to
back
wait your
up
turn.
later. Grown men, yo.
Mm.
like there's some things to this world that people haven't discovered yet. Like me personally, like in my inner child, I have grown this personality and planted the seed in my heart to discover the hidden realms of this world.
So you
And
said, forgive me. Continue.
and I believe that is a God given right. And I'm not the only one that operates in that type of mentality. As we can see, everybody lives this in this world, and we're all aware that there's things that we don't know about. So I have a right just as much as anybody else to explore and figure out what's my meaning of life on earth.
Yeah, you can do that, but the Messiah, the truth, the light, and the way, he's the savior for all people. So, you can have your perspective, but he's going to clear it all up for the whole world.
But remember, I asked you, do you believe in God, in the Lord?
Yeah.
And do you desire to go to heaven
No, I'm already in heaven. That's where I'm speaking from.
on earth?
Yeah, heaven is a mind state. You know, so it's more like heaven is a mind state. So mentally I'm in heaven, but because I can see the bigger picture, I can see the future even. But in the present, I'm still oppressed. So still dealing with slavery. So we still have to gather the government. We still have to finish the prophecy so that the world can really look like heaven.
But in this era, we're in the last days. So how can heaven be established on earth if we're living in the revelation?
That's what happens. When we get rid of all the religions, we get rid of all the wicked governments that are built on the religions, it'll be this government that we're gathering, righteous people. The last would be first, first would be last. Righteous people from the bottom being risen to the top. So this is going to bring peace on earth. This is going to bring healing for the nations forever and ever and ever. We're about to have our King of Kings on that throne. And all the nations are going to respect this throne. All the wars are literally about to stop. So that's what's being built right now. That's why it's a gathering for those who can recognize it and are going to take part in it.
Everything that's on the media is not always true.
Ain't that the truth?
They paint false narratives to find a selfish motive to obtain.
Yeah, correct. That's why you who takes down King AI in the Bible? Somebody, the chosen one in the book, one of them chosen ones in the book, he has to take down King AI because artificial intelligence lies are reigning the earth right now. So all this is about to be swept away because of what the Messiah is doing, what the holy angels at his side are doing with him. What God has given us is the truth. So all the artificial stuff is literally, it says in the last days, nothing is going to be hidden. So like, all these hidden things are literally coming to light right now.
And do you know that Judah isn't the only one that's building kingdoms for the Lord.
That's not true.
He's the
There's
only
only
one.
one house. There's only one Savior, and there's only one house.
But one man can't do it on his own.
I mean, you ain't talking to Yaju right now.
Yeah.
Greetings, everybody. Am I allowed to interject?
1 moment. We're still with brother down here, L.
Okay,
We'll
apologies.
get right to you.
He know what he doing. So I give him full credit. What credit is due. But the angel of the Lord goes to different people and give each person a different message to pass on to the next person. That's what I'm trying to explain. That even though Yaju has the truth, there's other people that has the truth too.
Well, I mean, Yaju ain't telling the truth about everything except him being the leader. So, like, if you also have the truth, you're also gonna follow his lead. You're also gonna accept his anointing as the Christ. You know, that's if you have the truth. You know, there's only one truth. It's many messengers, many different, positions, but it's only one truth. So it's all about the unity right now. All the people who is so called chosen and kings and queens and all these people literally have to come together. All these people have to come together in one house, and this is going to be the house of God that's above all the mountains and above all the hills, and then tears down Babylon, tears down the walls of Jericho. We all have to come together to do this.
It's already done, sister.
Okay, go tell that to the people suffering in the streets.
What do you mean? Who are in the streets suffering?
The kingdom is to
Besides,
be on earth for a reason.
huh?
The kingdom is to be on earth for a reason, but you say it's done and it's finished. And if so, where is the kingdom?
The kingdom is not here yet. These are just the beginning of
But you
the birth
said it's
pangs.
done and it's finished. So where is the kingdom if it's done and it's finished?
Go to the book of Revelations and read.
No. It's a heaven to be on
You
earth.
don't want to do the work.
The I need for you to empty your cup, sir.
My cup is full.
And that's the problem.
Why is that a problem?
Cause you coming with information, watered down information at that you think is the truth. When we're telling you what it is. Because we have the truth and nothing but it. You just told on yourself your cup is full. So anything we say to you right now is gonna go over your head.
You wouldn't know God if he was in front of your face.
But he is. And you missing him. Because you think you already have him. Anything else, El?
You tell me.
I'm cool off you. You can have a good day.
I'm trying to, but you ain't allowing that to happen.
I ain't holding you hostage.
I ain't holding you hostage neither.
I'm just giving you the truth.
Appreciate you coming up, Mr. Diablo.
Okay. Y'all have a nice day.
You too. Peace, peace.
All right, Conscious. What's going on? Peace, peace.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for letting me up on your live. I love the way this live is being conducted. I like the energy and the manners, you know. I just want to just commend you for that. And I would like to mention that I am from England. I go by the King James Bible, and I'm speaking my language of the Queen's language, and I can see everybody here speaks English. So, do we go by the King James Bible? I'm quite confused.
Not all the versions are true. We even go by the Quran as well. And the lost books. We say that all the books are true.
You go by King James as well, and Lord Buckingham and Queen Elizabeth II, because we gave Christianity to the world.
No, that's not true. That's why you got Haile Selassie giving the Solomonic gift. This is an Ethiopian king giving the Solomonic gift to England. So the power of the throne of David, the power of Solomon, this throne in the Bible, it was took from Ethiopia to England.
Why do the African American community speak English and go by the King James Bible?
Because we in a foreign land in captivity. That like Ethiopia, like we're not reading the Ethiopian Bible. We're reading the KJV Bible. We're not believing in, this King David who is gonna be chosen, and he's gonna bring world peace to the world. That's what they believed in Ethiopia back then. And then Rome came and made us believe in a history story and taught us English. We forgot the African language. So we've been colonized.
Wouldn't you say that the British Empire helped Africa by giving the Bible?
No, that's some of the worst stuff they ever did to us. It was written that they was gonna do it, so it was all part of the plan, but no, that's some of the worst thing they could have gave us is that Bible.
However, the Church of England has been there for some time, and the Vatican and Michelangelo depicting the picture of Jesus Christ that's renowned throughout the entire world. So, are we going to discredit the Vatican and the Pope?
We're gonna judge them and remove them from their positions so they can stop having war all over the world.
You're telling me the Bible from the Church of England's wrong, and the Vatican, the Pope, they're wrong.
The people is wrong. The Bible, they just put it in English and they started teaching lies, but the prophecy was always true.
So
They're just teaching lies with it. That's how
the
the world believes in them, because when we read this Bible, we feel something. We feel connected to God when we read it. We be like, okay, there's something in this Bible. I'm feeling moved. But when you go to church, they start lying to you. When you read the history story, they start lying to you. So that's the issue.
the fact of the matter is, I respect you. You're a lady, and the way you articulate yourself is very intelligent, and I commend you. I respect. I just want to mention, you mentioned Haile Selassie earlier on in the conversation, and I want to acknowledge the fact, I hope you recognize that Haile Selassie was saved by Queen Elizabeth II. You know this, right?
You mean when he ran away to England?
And Queen Elizabeth saved his life.
Yeah, he was working with them, but they're not, that's not a righteous nation.
You're telling me my good queen, I'm confused. we gave the King James Bible that the American government still acknowledges till this day. And the Americans
But
still
the
speak
American
English.
government is not our friend either, bro. The American government is a corporation that is owned by the British. This isn't I don't know if you know African Americans, but we don't like America. We America treats us like animals because that's what America thinks we are.
Right. On the other hand, we do have many African Americans that do uphold the Bible and they do follow the new Yajuda. Is that his name? Yajuda, you said?
Yeah, Judah.
Is he allegedly the new Messiah?
Not allegedly, he is.
The Bible from our King James did not say this.
No one would know the name until he revealed it.
Right. However,
No,
is
however, there's nothing else to talk about after that.
but the Bible does not mention him.
No one would know the name until he revealed it. That's why we
Right.
have to wait on the Lord.
So what about Jesus? We're going to forget Jesus? In the Bible, in Revelation, mentioning Jesus returning to earth and there shall be a war.
Well, Colossians 4:11 states who Jesus is, which is just us, the body of Christ.
The body of Christ. The Bible
Fellow
describes
workers.
Jesus to return back for a war. I'm confused. I'm really confused right now. I just don't.
I don't know specifically what you're confused on.
As the Bible states in Revelation, if you read throughout Revelation, it mentions a red dragon coming back as the devil being a red dragon, and there shall be a war on earth. So Jesus, he's not on earth right now.
Christ is on earth.
Not according to the Bible and Revelation. I'm a Christian. I've been a Christian all my life. My family are all Christians. So we know the Bible quite very well.
You know the Bible, but the word was made flesh.
Accurately.
I said you may know the Bible, but the word was made flesh. And the Bible isn't a study book, it's a fulfillment. It's a letter written to Christ.
Young lady, the Hebrews of Israel will inform you that is incorrect. And
Israel isn't a landmass. Israel is a people.
Israel is a landmass.
No, sir, they put that on the map. That's what they gave you.
Do you know the year it was established as a state?
Do you know that it was what it was before it became Israel?
Palestine.
Exactly.
I love the way you're articulating yourself. Continue. Apologies.
I just answered your question, that's all.
See, perhaps we can start on another foot. I would like you to understand, comprehend, apprehend, however you would like to word it.
I think when you use words like
The
I would
King
like
James Bible
unconscious,
was used. Oh, go ahead, King. Go ahead.
No, you can finish. I see it's we're in dialogue right now, so can you give us a moment before you interject?
Sure.
Thank you.
The King James Bible was working for the United States of America, and the Constitution, you would find out that it was the British Bible that you're using right now. So we gave this to you. And I think, you're not appreciating our queen. You're not showing respect and honor
Respect for someone.
to Queen Elizabeth II. She was a wise lady with class.
But when did she didn't start getting recognized until her and Haile Selassie got together.
That's incorrect. You have King Edward, King Henry VIII, and the kings and queen of
We're
England.
talking about Queen Elizabeth, though.
Right? She has a mother.
The conscious. Let me show you something.
Okay.
You can read this. It says Emperor Tedros II, King of Kings of Ethiopia, 1855 to 1868. Correct. So King of Kings.
Right. Okay.
King of Kings is the title for the Messiah or the Christ or this King David, the Solomonic king on the Solomonic dynasty. That's who King David is. That's you have the biblical prophetic paintings in the cave walls in Ethiopia. That's where the oldest Bible comes from. The most complete Bible, so it's the oldest one. The most books, all 88 of them, comes from Ethiopia. It was written in Ge'ez, which is the Ethiopian language. And you have grave sites, 150 kings and queens who was called King David in Ethiopia, though. Now, with the British, Ethiopia didn't colonize the whole world. The British colonized the whole world, conscious. The British colonized the whole world. So the British is the one who taught the whole world a history story, taught the whole world a religion, to have us all fighting each other. And the British is the one at the top of it all getting paid. That's why right now King Charles, he's called the King of Kings in paperwork. He's not God's King of Kings, but he's the King of Kings of the world. The Pope isn't Peter. On Peter we built this rock, but the Pope is called Peter over there in the Vatican. So you have a real kingdom. King Haile Selassie was the last King David in Ethiopia. So he is the one who gave over the power to the British. He's the one who gave over the secrets to the British, the Solomonic gift, the authority to the British. And prophecy said that the things would be restored. So the Ethiopia is what's going to be restored.
May I interject? I mention again, I have to commend you for your wisdom and your intelligence and the way you do deliver yourself in speech. It's fantastic. It's perfect. It's spectacular. And we need more intelligent minds like yourself to have these types of dialogues. And I see a lot of religious people be emotional. And the Queen Elizabeth II, My Majesty, she taught us morals and manners and respect. So that's how I carry myself. So I've studied from the British, the royal family, about the history of Ethiopia. And it was Saint Fermentuus that did give the Bible to Ethiopia within the 4th century. And that is within the British Museum as a fact.
No. If they are the ones who colonized the world, when they did the Berlin Conference was when a bunch of people, none of these people were African. None of these people were African conscious, but all of these people came together and drew lines to divide Africa so they could colonize it how they wanted. Like it was a damn pizza pie and everybody could just get a slice. That's how they cut up Africa, and Africa had nothing to do with it. That's colonization. And you know what you do when you go into these lands. You're going to tell these people, these indigenous people, and you're going to tell your own people in your own country, we was running shit since like 4 BC. We was over here doing this since forever. You can tell these people whatever you want to tell them. That's what you believe in is
Live.
you're not being honest about where the information came from, because Britain is a treacherous nation. That's not even debatable, bro. Like, to call these people your majesty, I'm not understanding how you can you can do that.
As I said, all respect, Queen Elizabeth, Queen Elizabeth II taught me discipline and manners and morals and how to converse with people in a conversation and have communication skills.
You need a queen to teach you manners, sir. You ain't got
Indeed.
sense in your head.
Indeed.
You need a queen to teach you manners. You
May,
out
may,
your
may, I,
rocker.
may I go further in my conversation?
You off your rocker, sir.
May I continue, please?
Haile Selassie gave them all the royalty they got.
I'm sorry.
They weren't Great Britain before
I
that.
apologize if I offended you.
I wouldn't care if you apologize enough. I'm telling you, you lying. That's
I'm so sorry, sir. I'm so sorry.
You're lying.
I
Queen
apologize.
Ain't teach you nothing. They took our Bible and they pretend they gave it to us. They stole everything that belonged to us, and we getting it back. No matter what you think, how you turn yourself inside out, we still gonna do what we gonna do.
I kindly would like to
We
interject.
gonna do what we gonna do.
I would kindly like to interject. If
I've
the
already
African...
heard you. I've heard you before. You on the same rhetoric. Same. I've heard you. I know what you stand for. Nothing. Nothing.
I want to kindly say to you, sir, with all respect and
I
no
can care
animosity.
less what you want to
With
say.
no animosity, sir. I'm speaking with respect
Brother
and
Clint,
sincerity.
Brother
I
Clint,
can
I
care
think
less what you want to say.
hold up, y'all.
It's unimportant.
Brother Clint, I think it's very important because, like, I never in my days thought that nobody would be having no type of respect for the Roman Empire. Like, this is easily the most evil, wicked nation on the earth, running the whole world. And the fact that
The most civilized.
conscious, see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. So we need to hear that coming out of your mouth. You didn't even know. Hold up. People need to hear that, though. People need to hear the brainwashing, or else and help us if they don't hear how people are brainwashed like him. We need to hear that. He's talking about, like, conscious. I want to know, do you agree that the one who wins the war gets to tell the story?
Concur.
Okay, so you understand the state of Ethiopia right now? How Ethiopia is very war torn. It's very is colonized, even though they say they're not colonized. You see how Ethiopia is going through many problems, right?
Indeed. Indeed.
And the rest of Africa, right?
Yes.
And the rest of the world, right?
Correct.
And the Vatican, the Roman Empire, owns more land, has more authority, has more of their princes and kings spread out all over the world, more of their information, more of their schools, more of their churches, all over the whole world, more than any other nation, correct?
Correct.
So the Roman Empire is the beast. The reason for the false information that's in the world is because of the Roman Empire.
I beg to differ. I really do. I beg to differ.
So who put out the false information and who's benefiting off of it?
Well, we have to analyze the Bible. The Bible explains the devil occupying the planet. If we are going by the Bible and we are Christians, and I go off the Bible. I don't speak from any other perspective, only the Bible.
But the devil is deception, sir. It's no person. It's deception. You've been deceived. In the Bible, it say the whole world has been deceived. They
Yes,
deceive you,
sir.
and then they gonna tell you they lied to you. Now how about that?
I would like to mention that we are speaking my mother's language. We are speaking the Majesty's language right now. So if we
But
are supposed
conscious,
to,
conscious. My
what?
ancestors were not born in no America. My ancestors were born in African. They spoke African language. So the fact that you think it's a gift, you're trying to, you put me in a prison cell and you're like, yeah, and you better be happy I threw you that pillow. You better be happy I gave you that a new toothbrush. You better be happy I gave you some comfy clothes, but you keep me in a prison cell. You better be happy I gave you a fake window. I gave you a
It
picture
would,
of outside instead of a real window. You better be happy. That's
it
what
would,
you're saying to me
right.
because you don't know who the devil is. You don't know that you got tricked. So you're trying to convince me that I should be happy about it
The
instead of
Bible,
because the one who's making the most money right now, it's really simple, conscious. The one who's making the most money is the one who told the lie. Because they told the lie so that they could make the money. They told the lie so they could put themselves in this position. It will be the people in the highest positions which need to be removed from those positions. When we have righteous leaders replace them, which is what this movement is about, righteous leaders replacing the wicked leaders, which will bring healing and world peace to all of the nations forever. That's what we're doing right now. So we have to remove those people that you're praising.
sister, I have to mention, like I said again, you're very intelligent. I appreciate the respect and allowing me to talk and not interrupting me. I really, thank you for this, and I show gratitude. I would like to say, in the Bible, it does mention people being enslaved for 400 years. And we see the Africans being enslaved for 400 years. But in Ephesians chapter 6, verse 5,
We ain't been
God
enslaved
says
no
we have to
400
obey our
years,
masters.
sir. We ain't been enslaved no 400 years. You wouldn't have last. It's
I'm
been
just going by the
400
Bible.
years.
The Bible says slaves obey your earthly masters. And Queen Elizabeth is a master, so we should obey her.
Queen Elizabeth is dead.
The royal family still exists.
Yeah, but you're talking about Queen Elizabeth like she's still alive. Queen Elizabeth is dead. No disrespect. I'm just trying to understand. And then you said something, you try to sound very polite and courteous, but you were actually very condescending when you told Haley, I need you to really listen and comprehend what you're saying. That's what you stated to her before she began to speak. And I don't know if anyone else caught that, but that was very disrespectful and it was very condescending.
He's very disrespectful. He don't
Absolutely.
know.
I had no idea what
He
you're talking
hooked
about.
on. He
I would like
hooked
to
on
mention
that
if I did
Roman
offend
doctrine.
anybody, I do
He a
apologize.
Roman
And I would like to
soldier with
state again
Roman
in
doctrine.
Ephesians
That's
chapter
what he
6,
is.
verse 5, the Bible states that we are slaves and we have to obey our masters. That's what I'm doing.
Well, all right. Well, I don't know who you are a slave of, but I'm not a slave, and my
So
ancestors are not
conscious.
slaves. And
Who?
so you can speak for yourself
I
when you
see
say
us
that we are
in.
all slaves. I'm not a slave.
Well, right, everybody's oppressed. That's what I'm trying to
Yeah,
figure out.
oppression and slavery is two different things, though.
But no, it's really not, bro. It's
You're not.
simply, we're supposed to be living free, like gods and goddesses on the earth, like children of God, but we're not. And we're not because somebody has enslaved us. Someone has, it's really all the same thing. Like, but we don't have to overcomplicate this stuff. Conscious, I'm trying to figure out this is the same thing we asked the pastors. Who made these people the royal family?
They did. They made
No,
them.
I'm asking Conscious because he's the one who is talking about King Charles as the royal family. Who made them the royal family?
It has been set within history of a lineage a lineage of Britain, the castle, as it originally was a castle. And we had dynasties, we had families for years.
I know. So
From
just
43 AD.
brother, do you agree that you agree that God can do a revolution?
Of course, 100%.
God can make world peace.
Of course.
God can pick righteous leaders to heal the nations. Okay, well, I'm a read a scripture for some clarity because this is on the way. This is what's happening. But what you're doing is you're praising the devil. The devil, you know, it says that the devil is the prince of this world. So you're praising the princes of this world when the righteous princes are coming out of Egypt to fix all the war that's going on in the world. We can't turn a blind eye to it or we'll never be able to fix the problem. And this is Ezekiel 37 and I'll start at 26. It says, I will make a covenant of peace with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them. Everlasting peace with them. I will set them in their land. Peace on earth. I will set them in their land and multiply them. Set my sanctuary in their midst forevermore. My dwelling place will be with them. I will be their God, and they will be my people. Then the nations will know. The nations will all know I'm the Lord who sanctifies Israel when my sanctuary is in their midst forevermore. So this is nothing that the British has ever done and the British will ever do, because they are making money off of the backs of slavery worldwide right now.
Why does
Because it's a corporation built by the British.
Oh, they're speaking my queen's language, so they must love my queen.
Correct. It's built by the British. It's literally a corporation. America is not a country. America is not a country. America is a corporation that is owned by the British. That's why everything over here is backed off of the British. We don't know, but we're actually citizens of England over here. We don't know these things, but we are citizens of England on this American soil because America isn't a nation, it's a business owned by the crown.
But we did give the truth, which was the Bible. So we gave the Bible to the Americans, and you're following, like you said, the English way. So you should really be bowing to the Church of
Hey,
England.
I'm not following
Y'all
the
ain't
English way.
give
I'm
no
getting rid of
Bible
the
to
English way.
no Americans. Stop that lie. You didn't give no Bible to no Americans. You stole it. You stole it from the scrolls and created 66 books. That's what you did. Stop that lie. You know better.
Yeah, you mind turn on your camera, Conscious, because you really all the way out there with what you're saying, and we get a lot of trolls.
You guys know I'm black, right?
Can you turn on your camera?
I can't turn my camera on, but you can go to my page and see me, and you'll see that I am black.
You can turn on your camera. You have access to turn on your camera.
No, my camera's broken.
Your camera's broken. Both sides, because you can flip your camera and we can see your face.
Is it necessary to see me? Like,
It'll really help, yeah, to see where to be able to
I find it to be
peek at your
a
soul.
likeness. Like, it could. Is it a?
Because you know how when damn, where'd my camera go? Well, I'm trying to hold up my
trying to
face
advertise myself to any single ladies out here. I'm sorry. I'm married to the queen, so I can't reveal.
Okay, so you see how when you look in my eyes, maybe you was just hearing my voice, but you look in my eyes and you see I'm not playing.
I'm not playing. I'm serious.
No, so turn on your camera.
So wait, you think I'm joking?
Yeah.
Why? Why am I
You
joking?
haven't turned on your camera. You want to fight instead
No,
of just turning it
why
on.
am I joking?
Turn on your camera.
Why?
You got something to
That's
hide.
not even about the
That's why he won't
conversation,
turn it
guys. I'm
on.
confused now.
That's why that's why he won't turn it on. He got something to hide. He know he lying. He don't want us to see his face. He
Top
know
of
it.
the feds, bro.
Grand rising to you.
All right, conscious peace.
Anyone fancy me?
Grand rising to you.
Grand
Peace
Rising,
upon
Jaja.
you. Peace and access.
Give thanks to thy presence. I'm the lamb that was slain at one of the 420 end of the saw, the land and tribe of Judah, the root of David, the only one found worthy to loose the seven seals, Christ the Lord thy God, who wears the vestiges of his imperial majesty and Emperor Haile Selassie, King of kings, Lord of lords, my strength and my redeemer, the life giver. No, there's a lot of fallacy out there, a lot of corruption, a lot of those who have led my children astray, who shall be brought to book by the long arm of the law, and to the full extent, and give account to, because I'm sitting in judgment of the world with my saints. And all your works are going to be exposed. No one shall escape this judgment. Everything is under a microscope. And I'm here in my sanctuary, on the city of God, which I found on my holy hill, the city of the Almighty New Jerusalem, Kushite Empire, New Solomonic dynasty, the fifth kingdom of Christ, Utopia, the kingdom of Zion, the kingdom of God is at hand. And here in my sanctuary, which used to be known as Jamaica, which is now the city of the king. And evidently, the world is in a dilemma because now that we, the indigenous, due to universal human rights, Universal Declaration of Human Rights Charter, international human rights law, has come to the forefront, which we established at the United Nations. And everyone will have to stand up within their indigenous rights and claim back their sovereignty. Because this geopolitical construct which we have here is of the colonial masters, and you can't say you're Jamaican, you can't say you're Australian, you can't say you're American, you can't say you're Barbadian, you can't say you're of any nationality, you have to say you're indigenous, an Ethiopian. And all of us are Maroons, and it is a papal bull by the Pope that made all indigenous people slaves. And they went across the world with their sword and their guns and captured all the land with the fourth kingdom of Rome. And their time's up, Mr. Babylon. Time's up. And it's now you have to pay the piper because everything is fraudulent, ill-gotten gains. Held by my church, the Haile Selassie I Rastafari Royal Ethiopian Judah Coptic Church, for the posterity of the children and future generations. And this is what, when I made this statement and claim at the Supreme House, it brought about a world financial crisis, a global meltdown. And I gave President Obama the impetus to my primacy as I'm the vice regent of the private of the church office. And he had
Jaja.
Funds. Yes.
On this panel, we're up here representing a movement dealing with a lot of the things that you're saying.
What's
So
that?
we have a judgment going to the high courts, going to the Holy See, going to the International Court of Justice. We have an actual paperwork judgment, an actual case, a real case against these people for the things that they've done. And the only way that it can be restored is if we are united, because they're going to hand it back over to the saints, right? So we have to be united. Are you going to stand with our movement? Because we're building a government to bring heaven on earth.
I'm with the 144,000 elect who Prince Emmanuel received the adornment from His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie when he visited the island. And we're in complete control of what needs to be done. And everyone should follow this because Rastafari has been the vanguard against
You said everyone should follow. You said everyone should
24
follow
ever since.
Rastafari.
And everyone should follow. Rastafari is the light of the lamp onto your pathway.
Brother.
This is your indigenous benevolent culture.
I just told you that we have a movement because we have the light already. We already got the light. We don't need nobody to give us the light. We need people who are going to be ready because the kingdom is going to be handed over to the righteous. So we need righteous leaders. We don't need everyone. We need righteous leaders who are ready to unite because it's going to be new princes coming out of Egypt. It's going to be new kings over Africa and over the world. So if you're one of those people, you should be trying to unite with us and not trying to teach us about your religion.
I don't have a religion, I have a faith, a way of life. Religion is a concept of man. Rastafari is an inborn concept.
Well,
Divine
you have a
principles.
concept of Haile Selassie. That's why I call it a religion.
It's not a religion, it's a way of life, it's a faith. Religion is man-made.
Yeah, but you believe in Haile Selassie, and he was a traitor. He went over to Britain and went over and turned the royalty, the royal crown over to Britain. That's why Britain is Great Britain. And if if you still believe in that mess, then you lost. 'Cause we know what happened, and you know.
Can I ask the sister a question? Talia.
One moment. I think Mississippi.
Yes,
One moment.
sure.
You know, Jaja, what's his name? Haile Selassie, he said that King David is gonna show up in the future and he's gonna take down Goliath. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about judging them with the case, with the paperwork, with a real movement. That's what Haile Selassie said. He said, I'm not gonna do it, but somebody's gonna come in the future and he's gonna do it. That's who we are. We're telling you King David is walking the earth.
We all are one, you know. We all are one. And when you come to the realization of that, then things will work. But once
You ain't hooked to the branch. You don't know who the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords is, 'cause he walk in there in the flesh, sir. You ain't hooked to that.
I the Lamb wear the vestiges, King of Kings, Lord of Lords.
You
I wear
are
the vestiges.
not. You are not. You are hooked to the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, and he's walking the earth. God created him. He chose him. He didn't choose you.
You don't know me.
I don't care if I don't know you. He didn't choose you, sir. Now, how about that? You talking to one of the 144 that walk with Christ,
I would agree.
that know Christ, have seen the light. You haven't seen no light. You don't know. You don't know what I know. You haven't heard what I've heard. So how about that? How about you step down and listen?
I have been listening, and you're all confused.
Well, then it ain't for you then.
You have seen a great light and can't comprehend it.
Brother, what light? You don't have no type of movement to even deal with these people. If you had the light, you would have had a movement. Right now, the masses are just sitting in Jamaica smoking weed. Y'all don't have a movement.
Rastafari as a global secretariat running things.
A
Yeah, we
global
gonna we
secretary.
gonna we gonna we gonna take them down too. We taking down all systems, all of it. Y'all gonna do what we say do, or you gonna be the least in the kingdom? One of them.
Well,
How about
I'm here in
that?
my
How
I'm here in
about
my
that,
sanctuary.
sir?
I'm here
Because
in my
it ain't
sanctuary.
happening. It ain't happening the way you want it. You got a new
I'm
sheriff in town. He calling the
I'm here in
shot,
my
and
sanctuary, you
God,
know.
not
I'm
you.
here. I'm here in my sanctuary. You're out there in the cold. Good luck.
I got more light than you'll ever have, sir.
Peace to you, Jaja.
Peace, peace. All right, brother Mississippi,
Yeah, I'm here.
you can go ahead and ask your question.
Okay,
Peace.
thank y'all for having me up. Peace and abundance to everybody in the chat. You know, everybody on the panel, and especially the host. My question to the host is: how many, approximately, how many people do y'all need in the movement to, achieve the goal that y'all are trying to achieve?
That's kind of hard to say. My guess is a few hundred, a few hundred um, governors, a few hundred kings and queens.
About 300 people. You don't think y'all have that amount right now through your following?
Sir, I said I don't know for sure. It's hard for me. It's really hard for me to say. It might be thousands. I don't know. But you have to think all of Africa is finna be handed over to us. So you see all these kings in Africa who's not doing right by Africa. They need to be removed and replaced. So, right now we have a lot of people who can see the light, but we need governors. Not everyone is supposed to be a governor. So, we definitely don't have that number yet. Um, yeah, we definitely don't have that number yet.
Okay. I have another question based on the statement you just made. Um, shouldn't shouldn't okay, we're here in America right now, right? And the copper color original, let me just say this, the original people of America, the copper colored races that were here pre-colonial times, pre-Mongolian, Siberian immigration, um, you don't think that we have a problem here in America, and that same problem that we're having here in America that we have to deal with is the same problem in Africa that they have to deal with. So I think that we can't deal with Africa's problem if we can't deal with our own here on our own soil. Would you agree to that?
Well, you don't have the thing is, bro, when you go to Africa or you go to Brazil, even Brazil, when you go to Europe, when you talk to the copper colored people all over the world, we don't see each other as different. It's only when we get on the internet and we start doing that elementary like nah, like y'all got cooties. We don't actually see each other as different when we actually face to face with each other. So the king of the Africans will be based in Ethiopia. So you have your Africans in Europe, you have Africans here, you have Africans, you can call yourself what you want, Mississippi, but you got us scattered all over the earth, and the king of our kings is gonna be his government is gonna be based in Ethiopia, and that's gonna bring healing to us everywhere that we're at, and to all the other nations as well.
Okay, I understand the fact that that's one thing I do stress, that we know who we are all over the planet Earth. Like, but if we're gonna, when we use terms like Africa, America, Australia, we are we are being differential toward our people when we speak upon them. We ain't calling them family. We calling them by a landmass that they're on, that we know the name of the landmass that they're on to be called today. So we're differentiating ourselves in America from Africans. The moment we say Africans,
That's
the
not
moment
true. That's
the
But the
moment
land don't make us. We make the
what
land,
I'm
sir.
that's
The
what
right.
I
land
that's
don't
what
have no name. We put
that's what
a
I'm saying.
name on the land
That's
because
yeah,
we're there. The
that's
land
what
don't make us.
I get it. You said it
Africans,
3 times.
Africa
That's
is a
I,
American name, a modern name.
what I'm
Ethiopia, but really is Abyssinia. Abyssinia means kings,
okay, that's
and
brilliant.
priests.
Thank you for that education. What my point is, when we speak upon each other, okay, we in America right now. So if I was to say anything about what's going on the landmass of what we know as Africa, and then we want to address Africa's problems while we're in America, we are differentiating ourselves. We
Brother,
have the
no,
same
no,
problem
no,
in
brother.
America.
I when I no, that's you who
No,
is not
that's
identifying, brother,
not
brother,
me.
brother, 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 brother. Brother, it's called one love, one Africa, one truth, one way, one original. You gonna tell the black man in Africa that he's not the original man because he was born across the sea? He looked like the original man to me, just like you look like the original man to me. So what are we really saying? It's not no different. It's just some people's over here today, some people's over there today. This is it don't matter what you call us. That it you can never call us nothing to make us who we are. You the one who's drawn the division.
I'm actually, it's not me doing that. I'm speaking on the way we are colonized mentally and how we are referring to each other as a global family. That's what I'm referring to. I could see the division and the way we referring to each other, not as family, but as particles of the family by labels. That's what I'm referring to. No, I agree and I
So are you an
stand on every.
African? Are you an African?
No, I'm original to planet Earth.
So you saying you not an African. It don't mean you
I'm,
not an African. That's like saying I'm not a melanated man. Nigga, you a
no,
melanated man. You're
but
just over here.
that don't make me an African.
You are African, whether you admit it
No,
or not, sir, because
don't
that's
never
where
do that
everything
behind.
started. We were
Listen,
displaced. We were
my bloodline is
colonized. You African, whether you admit it or not, sir.
because you can
And
yell over
everybody
me,
that's in
because you
the
can yell
tribe of
over me,
Judah is African, sir.
because you can yell over me, brother. That don't make what you saying true. It's just what
It's
Charlie just
true.
said.
It's
Charlie just
true.
said out
Whether
her
you
own
like
mouth,
it or
what a
not,
people call
it's
you don't
true.
make you what they call you. So I'm not an
It's
African.
true.
So I want to say I'm an African. My bloodline is soiled on the American soil. None of my people ever been to Africa. Never tried to go.
Brother,
So I'm
brother, brother,
American.
brother.
But for America,
You don't know shit
you don't
about
get to call me
why
what you want to call me. Because that's like you
Mississippi,
calling me out my name.
Mississippi,
And I don't appreciate that.
Mississippi,
Ask me.
Mississippi.
I
You
can tell you
know,
who I am.
hold up, bro. This is how colonization works because what
Yeah,
they
you want to
did
come
when
to
they
a
hold
people
up
you grew up
Mississippi,
with, and you want
when
to
they
tell
took
them who they are.
people Mississippi, when they took people from their lands, these people was on a boat. Okay, so all they know is I was on my. These people don't speak English. These people don't read and write. Many of these people
They
are
never hear.
children. Hold up, Mississippi. Many of these people are children. They took the children on purpose. They took the children on purpose. They took the women on purpose. You know, the men was gonna fight you more. But the women, you can make children with the women easier. And they took the children because the children are easier to control. The children are easier to trick.
So
So
you preaching
let me
to the
just,
choir.
they take these people. Now I'm over here where, you know, I see it's Africa, it's Abyssinia, I don't know. I'm over here in Abyssinia. They put me they put me on a boat, dark as hell in the boat. And then all of a sudden I cross this big old lake and I wake up and I mean it looks basically the same thing. If you go down to the south in America, the
I
south in
can't have that
America
for
is
you.
just
I
as
can't have
hot.
that for you. In my
Mississippi,
heritage,
hold
I
up,
can't
hold
have that
up.
for you.
I don't know what you're saying or why you cut me off, but nothing is confusing about what I'm saying.
It's
If
confusing to you because I'm saying that's not my
no,
story.
no, Mississippi, relax. Nothing is confusing about what I'm saying, so let me finish.
He just like everybody else. They say they ain't African. You mention Africa, they get all beside themselves and turn themselves inside out. But either way,
No.
you still African. Period.
Now let me finish, Mississippi. Let me
Go ahead.
finish.
You
So you got children, a lot of them children. None of these men and women could read or write neither. So you got these people, the Africa, where it's hot and beautiful, looks just like the South in America. Look, tropical trees, it's warm, you know, it looks basically the same. You can't, when you're dealing with children, people who can't read or write, your parents tell you, I'm from Abyssinia. They just changed the name of Abyssinia. Your parents tell you, I'm from Magdala. They just changed the name of Magdala to Ethiopia. So you don't even,
okay.
you don't, you know, and then, you know,
Keep talking.
and then with the children going into the school systems, you know, they can tell you whatever you want to believe, you know, but we got to understand no organism, when an organism is created, no organism starts in two different places. Like when anything is ever created, it don't be created in multiple places all at once. It has one root and then it branches out. It's the same thing with humans. Like, you know, and that's why it's really no point in trying to make yourself different. It don't matter what we call ourselves. There's no point in trying to make yourself different than your brother. It's no point in trying to debate, oh, everything started over here, everything started over here. Like, we gotta come together. If you wanna have a hissy fit about genealogy, you're gonna waste our time. You know, that's really not what we up here for, is to debate genealogy.
Okay. Now let me respond. So the first thing you asked me, where am I from? And I said, I'm indigenous. I'm original to planet Earth. So right there, that kills any type of divisionary tactic anybody can use against me. I know who the original people of planet Earth is. And I know that I'm one of them. Regardless of all the different names of the land masses, people want to call the land masses today. It's about who's first on planet Earth, who's God's chosen people. I'm not confused about that. The names and labels confuse people. I'm just saying I'm not confused about the names and labels of different land masses on this same exact planet. So when we talk about who was brought on and stolen from somewhere from their homeland and brought to another strange land. If we do research, it's very clear. And this is what I need to ask you before I even say what's very clear. Who took the Africans from their landmass or territory that they was in Africa and then brought them over against their will to another part of the world? Who did that?
It was Africans and it was other nations.
Who? Like who? What people did that? Any names of the people who
Yeah,
did
you
that?
you can call them traitors. You had all types of people who was traitors against God. They look like us. They didn't look like us. You had a whole bunch of people who was enslaving people. Everybody had slaves. Like it was
Okay,
everybody was
who?
doing it.
Who? Give me some races.
Everybody was doing it. Every
All
single
nations
nation
were
was
selling their
enslaving
own
people.
people.
All right. So let's just say we're gonna go with the narrative of the what y'all saying YT people stole
All
Mississippi.
nations, Mississippi, all nations were selling their own people.
American people that was in America wasn't
All
selling their own
nations.
people during that time. They weren't selling their own people during that time and taking them, selling them and taking them
But
to the east.
Mississippi, America was never a nation. America, people only started coming. This is why you don't have no this is why the throne is in Ethiopia.
Do
You don't have no majesty in America. You got a few pyramids and a few deities. You don't have no majesty. You don't have no lineage. You don't
you
have no, all
understand?
you have is a few more science temples, a few pyramids, and a few people worshiping stars and stuff. That's
So
what you
what you
got
don't,
over here. You don't have the
what you lack,
kingdom that we
what
actually
you
come
lack,
from over here.
what you lack, sister, is knowledge of America, the
Mississippi,
America.
you're not
You lack
listening.
knowledge thereof because you clearly, by making that statement, do not have the knowledge of America when that knowledge is out here that you are unaware of. And it's a lot of people bringing it out.
The only reason why America is so called great is because they stripped other nations to create
No, no, no,
themselves.
no, no,
Once
no,
again,
no,
they
no.
are a
That's not,
corporation, not a
that's,
nation.
that's not why, sister. America, the original mound builders of America
They
took
are
civilization
thieves,
all
Mississippi.
across the globe. Do you
They are
understand that? Listen
thieves.
to me. Don't argue with me. Just go and
You
research
are
what I'm
standing up
saying.
for thieves.
Listen, sister. The Mississippi mound builders took civilization and their culture all across the globe, and it's signified by the corn that grows indigenous on American soil. That used to be their signature. It's all carved in stones, all over ancient artifacts, all over ancient megalithic monuments. Even the metal netta show you feathers and postures that originated in the Americas.
Brother, America's not the only people who use
Y'all just
feathers.
don't know
You
this.
got,
Y'all
brother,
just don't know.
you got Ethiopian warriors, samurais, kings, niggas. You got these people in Ethiopia wearing the feather hats. So, you know,
No, no, no.
really what the standpoint is,
They didn't
The
originate the
Moors
feather
was
hat.
the first people over here, right? The Moors came over here and they was princes who was traveling all over the world.
Moors was not the
They
first
wanted to
people
set up their
to
own
conquer the
temples.
Americas.
A lot of these people want to set up their temple all over the world.
So
They
that's
set
false.
up they set up science temples because they wanted to worship their own gods and science and all their stars in the sky and all that stuff. They came over here to do it. They built their pyramids over here to do it, and they had deities over here to do it. That's how we got over here, really. It was just people who wanted to discover new lands.
That's false. The Moors were not the first people to step foot on American soil. That's false. Absolutely false.
Who
You
came
have
over
to
here
go.
first?
You my lineage, the Mississippi Mound Builders,
So the
who I'm
Mississippi came
descendants
from
of.
Africa.
No, Mississippi did not come from Africa. Stop that. Please do your research.
I
Just
can't
study.
do no research
I'm gonna
on
show you.
thousands of years ago. All I can tell
Yes, you
you is
can.
that
Yes, you
the
can.
original, all I can tell you
Listen,
is that the
through by
original,
documenting.
no, because I don't deal with false information, Mississippi. I don't deal with things that you can't actually back up substantially.
You
The
can
the
back it up substantially.
Ethiopia and and
Ethiopia is
no,
not
no, no,
older than
stop, brother,
Mississippi.
because I'm not finna keep getting cut off on a foolish conversation about genealogy anyway. We're not supposed to have conversations about genealogy anyway. Remember, one Africa, one love. It's just as simple as we're all brothers. Some of us are over here, some of us are over there, some of us are over here, some of us are over there. But the oldest dynasty, the Solomonic dynasty, where the King of Kings is, where the King of Kings is finna be restored, is in East Africa. And there's really no reason to have a problem with that.
Not if the ancestors of the Solomonic dynasty
Hold on,
came
brother.
from
Please let me
America.
respond to the sister. Please have some patience with me and let me respond
Hold
to the
on,
sister.
Mississippi. Hold on.
I
If the
want to give the sister
hold
just a
on,
gem.
Mississippi. Wait,
No, no,
You
no.
got to
I
please.
see. We know your standpoint. Let's just hear
No,
Mississippi.
I want you to look up something in your own time. I want you to look up how old is the mounds in LSU in Louisiana, on Louisiana campus, the college campus, LSU college campus. I want you to look up how old the mounds are. They built a college campus around these mounds. I want you to look up how old is the oldest mound in LSU campus. Now, when you do that, it's going to double the date of Africa.
Of Africa. Where do you even? No, bro. There's
Anything Africa
no.
ever built
Where
is going
you
to
did
double
you
the
did
date.
you dig it up?
Yes, I'm giving you the source
No,
to
no, no,
look it
no,
up.
no, 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 no. I don't mean. Did you put your hands in the dirt over there in Louisiana, and you was like, I think the dirt came from 2 BC. Did you do
No,
it?
they got carbon dating technology where
They
you can.
got carbon. They got information. They got facts that they putting out. I don't want to hear all that. Like,
Okay, well, your belief is your belief, then, sister. But the facts are the facts, though. They still remain.
all right, bro. You was gonna say something? ICSN? No, everything comes from Ethiopia when it comes to what we're talking about, which is about prophecy fulfillment. Everything comes from Ethiopia, you know. Um, I know the Bible is true because Christ is walking the earth. He's doing the damn thing. Like this is so. And then and the Bible said that Ethiopia is my fatherland. So I kind of took it from there, and the facts backed it up. You had a lot of people who was leaving East Africa, and a lot of slavery that was going on around there. A lot of people who came over here for work. So
Okay, I want you to look up some. Okay, we're gonna be on the Bible. We're on the Bible right now. I want you to look up how many times the Bible spoke about corn.
You just cut right
Maize.
across me.
Maize was a commodity, like how the greenback is. Maize was like that,
it's
right?
also
So I want you to
genetically engineered. But well,
no.
Mississippi, we're gonna move
Not
on
maize.
because
Corn is.
Mississippi, we had the genealogy conversation enough. We're gonna move on, bro.
I'm not trying to do genealogy. I'm just trying to get you to see
What he's
about the
trying to do is
Bible.
cut across me. Is what he's trying to do.
What I'm trying to do is identify and bring to your awareness how many times the Bible spoke about things that are indigenous to America.
All right. So if you want to have that
Remember.
discussion, you wouldn't cut across me. I mean, I'm not against what you're
You
saying.
didn't come in when she addressed you, bro. I was on mute, and I don't know if your mic was off or
Yeah,
something,
yeah,
but
we didn't even hear you. I see.
All right.
Yeah,
Well, what I'm trying
yeah,
to say is the
yeah.
Anasazi Indians are in fact the ancestors of the Ashkenazi Jews. And if the Ashkenazi Jews have their origins, or if the Solomonic dynasty have their origins in the people of the Ashkenazi Jews, they would be the descendants of the Anasazi Indians.
I thought we weren't doing genealogy no more.
Yeah,
Well,
what's your point?
I'm making a point. The point here would be is before the transatlantic slave trade, thousands of years before the transatlantic slave trade, and after the transatlantic slave trade, American Indians were exported into Africa.
What's your point?
That's very important, especially if we're stating that the Solomonic dynasty descendants are here in America. The truth would be we have descendants from different time periods, all from America specifically, which I think is
Brother.
very compelling, considering that the Anasazi Indians was an entire civilization in which the Ashkenazi Jews derived.
Brother, you see these people up here? This looks like my cousin. This looks like a few of my cousins. This looks like my grandfather. And these people were
I
born
agree.
and raised. These people were born and raised in Ethiopia.
But we
They
have
were.
people over here that look just like those people.
I don't know
Well,
why
all
y'all want to
these
fight
people,
us
No, I'm
being
not
one
fighting
people
you. I'm
so
saying that we have
bad. Like,
people over
y'all
here
need to
that look
relax
just
about.
like those people.
Brother. I'm not finna raise my tone on a genealogy conversation with you, bro. Stop cutting me off. These people were never slaves. These people in East Africa were never slaves. But they look exactly like the slaves over here in America. Now, y'all want to fight the fact that we're one brethren, that we're one family, that we're one people. Y'all can go ahead and fight tooth and nail and down that hill all y'all want. But the throne is being restored in Ethiopia. Period. That's where the throne has always been. That's where it's being restored. It's not being restored nowhere else. It's being restored in America. I mean, in Ethiopia. Now, why the hell do you got Pharrell up here? Because he's not a revolutionary as far as I've heard. So, what do you have his face up here for?
Maybe with his
You trying to say he's an Indian?
no.
What you got for us then, bro? Like,
Are you familiar with his messaging, with his festival called Something in the Water? Are you familiar with that?
no.
Well, yeah, he has a festival, and his festival is called Something in the Water.
Okay, what's your point?
Well, you say he's not a revolutionary, but Something in the Water, the theme is very revolutionary. Just the messaging in of itself is revolutionary. Something in the Water.
You gonna tell us about it, or you want us to look it
I
up
want you
later?
to put that picture back on your thing. I want to see something really quick. I want to show you something. If you put the picture back on the screen for a second.
Bro, make your point, bro, please.
There's an individual on your photo that looks like Pharrell.
Yeah, those are Ethiopians. They never been to America.
Right. Pharrell is not Ethiopian.
You don't know what Pharrell is.
I do know what Pharrell is.
Nah, you don't know what none of the niggas over here in America
I
is.
do know what Pharrell is.
What is your point?
Just if you put it back on the screen, it would be very clear what the point is.
No, if you use your words, it'll be clear. We're not finna dance with you all
Well,
day, bro.
she has a photo. She has a photo with an individual that looks almost identical to Pharrell, you guys. And what I've explained is the Anasazi Indians was an entire civilization here in the Americas. And the descendants of the Anasazi Indians would be the Ashkenazis. Just like the Horites in the Bible would be the Hopi. And so we see all of these parallels of people who are the same people. One, because they are. And then two, the genealogy has been mixed because during the transatlantic slave trade, American Indians were sent to Africa. And ironically, there were some Ethiopians who were sold into slavery by the Blackamoors into the Americas. Now, unfortunately, those same Blackamoors who sold those Ethiopians into slavery was also enslaved themselves. These sub-Saharan African Muslims became slaves in the United States
Okay, so
specifically.
ICSN, we're all one people. You said we're all one people. So you're aware that we have a movement to restore our one people everywhere that we are scattered. Everywhere that we are scattered, we have a movement. So we need order. We need our King of Kings, and he's been chosen. So right now, God is choosing more kings. That's what's going on. So I hope that you'll understand where we're coming from so that you can take part, because that's really what it's about.
I do understand where you're coming from.
Okay, I hope you'll listen more.
I'm
Okay,
listening.
good. That's the website, y'all, for everyone who's serious about the nation building. YaJuJudah.com. I'm gonna put in the comments. It's really time to come together so we can judge. It's not time to have debates about genealogy. I guess. Okay. Well, Manhattan, I'll give you another minute to try to come up, because when I let you up, it just kicked you right back down. But yeah, I'm gonna shut this one down.
Wanted to know, did ICSN, did you like sign a petition or look into the petition? Because I mean, you come on her often, so I just wanted to know.
No, I have not signed the petition. I have not. However, I do come on to see how Talia is doing.
I'll be great when you sign the petition. Stop wasting everybody's time, yo. That's ridiculous.
Man,
Yeah, that's
came to play.
crazy.
Came to play. But yes, sis, I enjoyed this. Peace to the family. Y'all have a beautiful day.
Yeah. Likewise, appreciate y'all. Peace and love, everyone. Till next time. I'll just say again about the movement. You know, we got a case against the Roman Catholic Church. We got a case against the British Parliament. And like we say, we nation building. We got to get the leaders together in a room together, so that when they hand this back over to us, we already ready. We already good. We're already strong and stable as God's house. So that's what's going on, y'all. Only for the real. Yeah. So check out the website, you know, read the declaration, the petition, and then all the information. Yeah. And to the brother asking who is our King of Kings, you look up Yaju. Take a screenshot. 5, 4. Take a screenshot, Yaju, or it's in my name. Look up Yaju. He has tons of videos. Yeah, so look up Yaju and go to his website. All right, peace, y'all.